And welcome to Trader TV Live. We got durable goods numbers coming in. We'll get those in a second. Multiple different headlines this morning. NVIDIA in focus, obviously, as they report Wednesday. All eyes will be on the $3 trillion name to see if they're able to continue the momentum that they've had leading up into this year. Also, PDD overnight reporting out of China. A big miss there, down double digits again. XPeng also with a headline, insider buying there. We'll keep an eye on that. Adara, do we have the durable goods numbers?
We do here. So durable good orders month over month, higher than expected here, an increase in 9.9% on a month over month basis for July. That's well above the consensus here of 5% and the forecast of 3%. In terms of durable goods ex transportation, on a month over month basis, those are coming in negative 0.2% versus estimates here of negative 0.1%. So lower than expected here for durable goods ex transport, much higher than expected for durable goods.
All right, the market's looking flat at the moment, guys. The NQ just down barely up, 0.07. The ES up 0.3, and the Dow and the rest both outperforming the ES and the NQ right now, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It's going to be a fun week. Why? Because it's NVIDIA earnings. I mean, come on. The biggest earnings day of the, of the quarter. Shouldn't say of the year. They report 4 times a year, so it should be interesting.
How many times it is? Okay, good.
Well, I mean, that's last I checked. I mean, I hope that that's actually true.
Well, some companies do twice a year, but they're few and far between.
Bitcoin's up.
Bitcoin's reporting?
No, Bitcoin's up, but you can't wipe the smile on my face. I'm telling you, my family had a baseball weekend, and I'll tell you right now, we got the luckiest, most fortunate 2 games to go to possible. On Friday night, the Jays, which have nothing to cheer about this year, walked it off with back-to-back home runs.
That's right, I saw that.
And then on Saturday, we're at the game on Saturday, and our pitcher takes a no-hitter into the 9th inning. It was felled, but it was unbelievable. The atmosphere was electric.
So close.
Got to meet Pat Borders.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is pretty cool. Like, I mean, the guy's World Series MVP for us. Legend around here.
I mean, looks like he's had better days. But.
Obviously, the guy's he's a catcher, right? So the guy's
up knees.
strong.
Did you ask him about his knees and stuff? I was always wondering for any catchers that are out there. Like,
you know what's hilarious?
Even my daughter playing catcher, I'm like, man, that must be tiring.
Like, obviously, it's a tough position. But you know what we ended up talking about? I had the chance to chat with him. And we ended up talking about daughters. Because he's like, oh, is your daughter she looks athletic. Because I said her favorite position is catcher. She said her favorite position is catcher. And then he starts mentioning his daughter plays soccer, is starting at Auburn.
Right.
So we were talking about that. So just a couple of proud dads and their daughters. I know you guys had a fun weekend as well.
Yeah, we had lots of stuff happening there this weekend as well. All sports related, of course.
Go.
But, oh man, NVIDIA, Meta. I feel like you're right. This week's going to be great. We also have CrowdStrike coming through. We have Lululemon. Right. I mean, there's some retail stuff coming through this week as well. Every time I load up, I must have had Riley on here because Riley's only $6 right now. My screen automatically was showing that. Rivian, I don't know why we're looking at that right now, but that's on here. Mara, again, like we just talked about some crypto stuff. Well, we didn't talk too much about it, but 63 and change right now for Bitcoin. So 63 and change. Let's just call it close to 64 right now. Mara continues its high side move as well off this 14, 15, 16 area that we've been sort of talking about buying. That's been a good swing trade if you want to get in and out of that one. We should have Michael Noss coming through today, I believe. We also have gold right here. We talked about holding that maybe into the weekend as that continues to climb higher, breaking highs right now and taking out its all-time high. GLD today. I mean, there's so much. You were looking at oil earlier on.
Big moves on oil.
It's going to be a big one, I think, this week. And then we all just wait for NVIDIA, which, of course, again, is up. I mean, we have 130 right on the ask right now, up another 0.5%. And Shreve asked me, like, what was I thinking, up or down today? And I was like, you know what? I mean, we're coming in here flat. What we've written down here on the sticky note so far, I was just waiting. I mean, nothing's happened with durable orders, or good, so we're okay. But I was thinking, like, I feel the same thing as I always feel, except for today, I feel patience is going to be even more important. We always talk about waiting for setups. If the Nasdaq's going to open up around flat and we're waiting for Wednesday, I feel like we could just chill out for a couple of days. Gold breaking out, we may be watching some energy and then some crypto. But for right now, I think tech is going to cool down a little bit. Someone put in the chat, I think it was Oscarito, Target maybe. in play as well. Walmart breaking out, like all these stocks starting to go. So
continuation plays from recent earnings. I mean, those have been pretty good. You can't hate on those. That's why, I mean, Target actually makes some sense today. There's this TNXP, which is running, for those of you that are into the penny stock game. It's trying to break like a 41, 42 cent level. But Target, I think, look, a lot of times, like after things calm down on earnings, you know, you finally made a little bit of a pullback bottom, and then on the old higher low, is it actually going to do that thing where you break out? I think 160 looks interesting on Target. This TNXP, Tonix Pharmaceuticals, just crossed the 15 million mark. It looks like it's going to be a decent runner on volume. It's got a lot of churn going on here around the 40 level the last couple of days. Rejection, breaking. So this actually looks pretty interesting above the 41 and a half cent mark as it's starting to go here. A couple of days worth of consolidation for this TNXP starting to move a little bit. So on the radar, didn't catch the news, have to double check to see what's actually going on here, but probably just a small float and pharmaceutical name, yada, 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 pharma, one of those.
Oh, yeah.
All right, some of the social media companies here in focus. I've got Meta up. Overnight, Malaysia's communications director has proposed licensing requirement for these social media platforms that have over 8 million users. It's part of this growing process of these large companies, these mega tech companies, having to navigate multiple different regulatory environments, sometimes, in the 10s and 20s there. So anything really that we need to know about this one?
The main things here to know are the sheer number of major companies who are involved in this AIC here, which is an industry coalition, again, based in Asia. These companies include Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, and Grab Holdings. Those are the publicly traded companies involved, but X is also involved here, so formerly known as Twitter. Again, warning basically these regulations could stifle some innovation. They could also cause problems here in Malaysia with regards to their digital economy. So pretty interesting argument here. We'll have to see how this story continues to unfold. Also worth noting for Apple and Amazon, Edgar Bronfman's Paramount Plus bid, which we heard about last week, also apparently includes some plans to involve deals with Amazon and Apple. So some of these big tech names involved in a couple of different stories.
All right, guys, Meta down 0.5% right here. Not much volume, though.
I fear the old flat bottom break on Meta.
Uh-oh.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to hit like the key or anything because resistance tends to, if you have an inside day and everyone's all patient today, then to me, like you could easily just bounce off of support down here at the 23 level. So Meta down when the market is essentially flat. I mean, the market is down technically. The ES is up 0.1. The NASDAQ is down 0.1. Meta's down 0.5 point. It was a bad set of days to put in this head and shoulders for Meta Thursday and Friday. So, there's your false break of 540. Goes right into its 52-week high, which would have been, I think it was like 545 or something like that. Let's double check that on Meta. What was that 52-week top? Oh, no, 544.23. So looks like maybe that was it. So it tagged the new 52-week high, and then put in the lower high on Friday to get your little head and shoulders pattern. That was your short into what looks like $523 support. If it loses 523, not much for at least 10, 15 bucks. Or so. You do have one decent close there at 16. Yeah, it does look like this one. I have Amazon written down for a short for myself based on a trend line, but Meta through 523. I mean, if it loses that, I'd look short under. But as long as it's there, it still seems like it's got a bit under it at that 523 price. So it's got some support. Randy. Always go long.
Yeah, man, Starbucks.
Coffee.
We've actually done quite well on Starbucks recently, but that was new CEO. So, cheers. All right, Randy, how did your barbecuing go?
Yes.
You didn't do it at all? Jeez.
Someone I know did.
Come on, man. So I threw down some ribs yesterday as well. So we barbecued, got those going, and they're really, really tasty. We had a pool party yesterday with our baseball team. We finished off the season for the rep team, and it was a big success where we once again, I mean, the thing is that I was talking about our team at High Park, and we were playing the other all-girls team, Royal York. But the thing is the final score, it was 19-4. So It was fine. And then the thing is that we had one of our best pitchers, and I told her, I'm not going to put you in, because I already had everything all set up. And she asked me, okay, can I pitch at maybe the last inning? And I said, okay, well, if it's still competitive in the last inning. So anyways, it was like the third inning, and it was like, I don't know, 7-0 or something for us. So I was like, okay, let me just warm her up. Maybe they get a couple of runs. So we warm her up, and she's just firing darts. Boom, boom, boom. And then all of a sudden, like, we put up like a 6 spot or something, and then it's like 13-0. And then it didn't even get close. So unfortunately, I had to tell her, hit the showers. Yeah, and so she caught the last inning, and we put in like a little mercy pitcher. But we were really happy with that. So we were undefeated against all.
Do they have a mercy rule?
Girls teams. Yeah, 6 per inning.
Oh, so it's a per inning one.
Until you can't mathematically come back.
Right.
But the one thing is that I've talked about this. They play with pitching machine. So we've played them once with a pitching machine because they go throwing once you're 11. We start at 9, which is minors, so that's a little bit early, but 9 and 10. Yeah, it's still, I mean, whatever, it's fine. Yeah. At the end of the day, they didn't have any pitchers, so that was part of the problem because they use a pitching machine. So, but anyways, yeah, lots of fun. And then Gia had 5 hockey games.
Only 5.
We were up. Yeah, that's it.
That's
only
not
5.
much.
Yeah,
that's not much. I mean,
well, one on Friday, and then she won some Jets Player of the Game or something for fastest skater. They wound up losing, but she's playing up, so she's playing with A and AA co-ed teams. So she got invited to play on that. So we're pretty happy with her. But
moving on,
so it sounds like it was a sports weekend. And it's good to see the Jays. I mean, it's nice that you guys were able to go, and then they were playing the Angels too, right? Because
no Mike Trout.
The Angels. Oh, Michael Nosh is not in the building yet? Oh, he is. He's coming.
He's getting locked and loaded. He's ready to go in a couple of minutes. But I mean, there's a lot that's going to be going on. I'm kind of good. I'm kind of curious because I know that the Nas boss was talking about bros. I feel like, and I don't. Maybe we'll ask him if this is one that he got into, or maybe he's just waiting for it to break out because it is giving you the old consolidation play right now, Dutch Brothers, where you make that. You get the earnings dump, whether it's good or bad, yada, yada, yada. It makes the dump, makes the high or low, tried to break it out, but now it's coming back in. I just wonder if it can take out 33. Like, it seems like an obvious breakout as a day trade. Not much going on right now, but I know this is one of the names that he was scanning for last week, and that 33 still very much in play here for potential breakout. So I don't know. It's worth having on the radar. I always have coffee and donuts on the mind somehow.
I forgot this is a picture my wife says it's not very flattering, but this is
what's wrong with the picture?
She never lets me. She always carries her bag.
Of course.
The bag has like every single, and then there's the Crocs. Remember we were talking about that? Everyone's always wearing Crocs. There's her 2 sticks. They got a Gatorade. And she's like, Dad, I don't like red Gatorade, but I'll take it and gave it to her brother. But anyways, yeah, that's just her right there.
What's wrong with red Gatorade?
I don't know. She likes lemon lime.
Oh. Erin likes the blue.
The blue? Yeah. So she had blue one game. Yeah, she liked that. I told her, I said, you know what? Red's the worst. See, so Ramina's agreeing
really?
As well. Fruit punch?
What's wrong with...
I don't mind orange.
I like orange and red Gatorade. Blue, actually don't love blue. Blue, not my favorite. Love grape.
For me, it's lemon lime. It's all about lemon lime. I really like the lemon lime. But I don't mind orange. But,
what's wrong with orange?
No, I told her. I was like, don't ever say no to the Gatorade. She's like, oh, I like my coach. He gives us Gatorades if we win or lose or something. I was like, oh, that's nice. All right. So I think we're ready to go. I'm just writing down some names. Got Shopify on here. I really like, Neil was talking about Meta. Meta's made the sticky note as well today for that flat bottom break. I mean, I think it's going to happen. And when it does, I think you open up the floodgates for a much lower move. So, but you know what? We talked about this with Michael last week when he and I were on. We talked a little bit about gold. Gold's breaking out again here today. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening with this next segment called Mondays with Michael.
Yes.
Here on Trader TV Live.
All right, everybody's favorite chartered market technician from the Maritimes of Canada, Michael Noss, thanks for being on again. What are we talking about today? I see some SPY, I see some RSP, so I think we're going to do some index comparisons here.
Yeah, absolutely. So At the end of every week, us nerdy technicians get weekly candles, and we get to go through them, and it gives us a good understanding of what's happening in the overall market. Like on Friday, I think I'll have fresh monthly candles for you, and that's a really wide zoom out, but this is a little bit of a zoom out as well. So what I want to talk about is
Go
the
right into it.
sector rotation that we're continuing to see here has been something that I've been waiting for and talking about for a long time, saying, hey, NVIDIA just can't be the entire market forever. And we are seeing that rotation that takes place. For those, just to summarize, when I say sector rotation, I mean people selling stuff that was working and then buying other stuff with that money. And that's what you need to see in a bull market. You need to see people selling the winners and using that money to not go to any sort of safe haven or cash or anything, but to use that to buy something else. So we're going to use this chart of the SPY for a reference point. I'm asked all the time, when you're doing relative strength and trying to figure out what's going on, what do you use to compare different indices? Because some are more volatile and some are less volatile. I look at the chart. So the top arrow is just the all-time highs, and then that bottom arrow is, you call it the reverse carry trade crash or whatever. So everything we'll be looking at today, when I went through the chart, I'm comparing to that. How close are we to that high? Are we above it? Are we below it? How much have we moved from that low? That's going to tell me that when that dip happened, where were the aggressive institutional buyers that take place, right? So next chart here is just the RSP. This is the equal weight. So for those who don't know, the S&P 500 is cap weighted, which means that the larger your company, the more of a weight you have in the index. So Apple, NVIDIA, Microsoft, all the names that you know and love, those are going to move the S&P 500 way more. RSP gives an equal weight or a small amount to each one. So this chart essentially represents what does the average stock in the S&P 500 look like, and you can see well through that all-time high. Didn't sell off nearly dramatically when we had the sell-off, and already through and closing strong in this high. This is my first sign that we're getting rotation, because again, if the biggest names were the ones that were leading, then you would see the SPY being breaking new all-time highs, and this would not. So that's the first sign. Next sign here is just looking at SMH. This is the semiconductor ETF. You can see how far this is from that all-time high.
Yeah.
Semiconductors have become relatively weak over time. So this is not a sector that I think is a leader anymore. As much as NVIDIA is still going to be a good short-term trader and all that, I'm going to move on to other things. So then the question is, where is the money flowing into? And this is why I go through all of these charts kind of one by one to get that kind of idea. So I have three ideas here. The first one is XBI. This is your biotechs, right? Companies that build things that kind of help people. Not only is it technically right at that or through that closing high, but you can see that represents an equal high that happened around March, May. So as we're going through here, we're getting closer and closer to this very strong resistance point. So I'll be watching XBI to see if we can get through. XBI is a good ETF to trade anyway, especially if you're afraid of trading individual biotech names because of their volatility, but I'll be looking at those individual names to see if I can find anything that's setting up here. Next one here is XLF, which is just your financials. Again, a break and a push through all-time highs. This doesn't look like bear market or scary activity for me, where we're seeing this close above all-time highs in XLF. Last but not least, Sean was talking about before I got on here, is gold. A little inside week last week, but you can see completely unaffected by what's going on in the market. So I'm still in the camp that we could see a little bit of chop going into the election. That's why I want to focus on buying dips and selling rips, and I want to focus on strong indices. So between biotechs, financials, and then precious metals like gold and possibly silver, that's, I think, a good place to focus your attention.
So obviously price action is one way to look at rotation, Michael, to see where it's moving out of, some of the larger caps, microchips, as you mentioned there. Is there any specific indicator that you help to look at for rotation, like the money flow index or anything specific like that, other than price action?
Money flow is a great one. Just simple volume is fantastic. If you're seeing these moves take place on increased volume, then you know that's where the money is flowing into, because they can't hide that as well. If you want to get real nerdy with it, and I know some people that do, is you can actually look at the fund flows. So what ETFs are people putting money into? What ETFs are taking out? That reports a little bit on a lag, but it's not actually too bad. So if you go through these ETF lists and you say that, oh, everybody's, there's a massive amounts of money flowing in XYZ ETF, then you know that that's a place that you want to look at. But price, right? Brian Shannon, you guys have on all the time. One of my favorite quotes from him is only price pays. So for me, that's what I'm going to focus on.
I love it. All right, Michael Noss, are you going to be on today on the market recap show?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
See you guys there.
All right, guys, we'll check out Michael. He'll be on after the bell. Thanks, Michael. See you Friday.
See you Friday.
Take care.
Oh, that triple top on XBI. Spicy, spicy, spicy one in there. Just going to throw it up there. It looks, I call it a triple top, but technically you're getting there for like the fourth time on the daily. So when it gets there, it'll be like a quadruple at 103.5. You watch out for those breaks. They can be spicy. Although, like we were saying with Meta, support's support till it isn't. Resistance is resistance till it isn't. And so when you're looking at the difference between like day and swing trades, just understand, like in this context today, like you haven't broken out those highs, like local high, but a buck lower on this XBI on a 15-minute basis. So, support is support, resistance is resistance. That breakout looks good. When you're swinging, you look for a close above, maybe on a weekly, and then open up the next day or two. On a day trade, that's like a go right away because it can always fail that top the first time. So I think it's a good look to watch that XBI off of some of those highs. Certainly worth watching in here. Just wanted to get back over, there was that penny stock that was going, that TNXP. It is an MPOX stock, by the way, rightfully. Thanks for a few people mentioning that. So it is running. It's actually holding VWAP very, very well here. So this one could be pretty solid, but I'd like to see what it does off the open. You're still trending into the upside, so I got this one on the back burner. But yeah, watch out for that XBI. Always a big difference when you're taking a breakout trade on a daily versus, as a day trader versus a swing. On that swing, there's a little bit of patience that's required. When you're a day trader, you just hit that sucker as it starts going through. But I think that's going to be more of a patience play on XBI because that's a big, big resistance. Multiple times it's tested in the last year. Let's see what the old analysts are trying to do with a few stocks here with the upgrades and downgrades.
We have Sentinel 1 here kicking things off, getting this upgrade from Needham with a $29 price target. BJ's here. We know we have some retail names on watch for earnings last week and this week. We have BJ's getting this upgrade here from Nomura, here up about 1.5%. AMH getting a Wells Fargo upgrade, and XL Energy getting upgraded here by Argus. On the downgrade side, starting with Wayfair, we know this one has a bit of a short float. So W here down about 2% on watch after this Argus downgrade. Oaktree getting downgraded here by Wells Fargo. We have Janney downgrading at Nova. And last but not least, Equity Residential getting a downgrade, but a price target increase here from Wells Fargo to end off the day, guys.
Sentinel 1 and Wayfair. Wayfair does not have what you need there. All right.
Not today, it doesn't.
Downside move, $45. I don't know. I don't see that much Wayfair. I see they're spending a lot of money, it seems like, on advertising these days. But I don't really see too much Wayfair action around my neighborhood. And again, don't know much about it. But that downgrade kind of seems to be right spot on. It's making that move right back up into some sort of resistance levels here of 40. Basically, it's 50, but if you go a little lower than that, $48 or so. So with it opening in and around 45, 46, probably about time to catch that downgrade, especially if they want to buy it back down here at 38 or 39. So I think Wayfair, again, I was actually looking at this before. That's why this move was real nice, and we've already come back into here. I think it must have been, it wasn't JC, but somebody was mentioning about small cap names, and this is always a name that I like to look at. So you did have a lot of consolidation down here between like 30 and 35, and then we finally broke out, and then we used 35 as support again. So either way, I think that Wayfair on a downgrade, nice. I think it can come back into this area, and it's worth trying. So yeah, get Wayfair back into $38, $34 there. I think it's a good buy. And then, possible break long, I would have to wait above the 50-period moving average. So I like to see 49.50 or so for Wayfair. But yeah, an interesting name on that list, I guess.
Yeah, on that list, Sentinel 1, that had a really good last couple of weeks. What didn't have a good last couple of weeks? But talk about steady Eddie to the upside for old S here. And, I don't know if maybe there was one red day in here. It's really close. I'd have to double check. it seems like it was basically just flat on Thursday, but every other day just slowly creeping up. And when you have stocks like this, the trend is your friend. That's about as linear as it gets. Like, that's a very clean 45-degree angle to the upside. But it seems like, this recent high here, 24.65 or so on Sentinel 1, when it dipped in on Thursday and then again on Friday, it ended up supporting that previous level, and now you're just taking out the top. It doesn't seem like it's a screamer of a stock, just more like a steady upside play here for Sentinel 1. Worth watching. Just don't wonder if that's the kind of thing. Yeah, it's not always the best day trade when a stock looks like this. It's usually you just kind of you get into a swing and then hold it until it does some kind of a trend reversal. But a good look for Sentinel 1 there. A couple of interesting names on that watch list, but I know everyone's watch list probably starts and ends with NVIDIA.
Be the first time, Neil. All right, guys, crypto in focus, BTC specifically, coming up to 65,500 overnight, just about 65.5. It did close above 64,000. Adara, last week we had the largest net inflows in 5 weeks, about 533 million came into these Bitcoin spot ETFs, with IBIT seeing the most.
What I'm seeing here a lot of as well in terms of the reason for this, people speculating it has to do with regards to rate cut hype out on Friday after we had comments from Fed's Jerome Powell at Jackson Hole. We also had much stronger than expected new home sales for July coming out around the same time as those comments. But interestingly enough as well, in addition to those inflows, we also have Bitcoin up about 40% from our month's low, which is when we wicked just below 50,000 here on that pretty weak Monday that we had for the market. So really strong look for BTC, though currently right now just below 64,000.
All right, guys, net outflows for Ethereum, but net flows for Bitcoin. What's the look?
Kind of like an over-under thing at 63.5 for me here. So you did double tap 65 with support right here at 63.5. I think if you're under 63.5 and doing any kind of a consolidation under, don't want to be terribly bullish, but as long as it can hold above there and do any kind of bounces higher, I'd like to be looking for things long. I mean, when I say things, I mean Mara. Be real, not talking about things. I'm talking about one stock, and that'll be Mara. So as long as we're above 63.5, that's the key. There's a couple of good spots for Mara. Like it broke out at 18. You got previous highs at 18. You've also got, let's just zoom it in a little bit here. You also have it consolidated in the middle of the afternoon at about 18:30. So there's a couple of good dip buy zones. But I got to key in on that 63.5 in Bitcoin. It's been a very clear zone since it tested 65,000. So between those two numbers, if you're above the 63.5 and you're in the top end of the range, look for the longs. If you're failing that 63.5, well, I don't want to be catching a falling knife when it comes to Mara. It's slightly down on the day after pulling back a little bit here. So I think you just have to be patient with this. Let the move be your guide. When it starts to trend, when Mara starts to trend, generally speaking, you're going to be able to find a way into that long, as long as you're paying attention to it. That's the first thing. You have to have it up, and when it starts trending, there were multiple chances to get in long on Friday that you could have had.
All right, just real quickly on a longer term time frame here, just because it's been pretty choppy for the last couple of weeks, and then now you get that big breakout over there on Thursday, Friday. So Friday, I guess, Thursday, what depends on what the timing is of it. But there you go. It's a huge candle to the upside. We haven't seen much of that in the last couple of weeks. So there it goes right there, a nice little move up. And it's nice to see because you're holding the 200 period. That's this green line. So this is simple moving average on a daily chart. So for me, I think we have to stay long Bitcoin. Right now, there's a 50 period moving average as well. So I really like this base down here. I mean, we keep on talking about 54. Look, 54 is still $10,000 away from where we are right now. Could still come into play again. I don't know if I'd hold it down to there. The break, I mean, that's pretty scary. If you had stop orders down there, you might have got triggered out in and around 50,000. So that would obviously be a problem because you'd be looking back saying, what happened? But as long as you stay above the 200 period, I think I like this 63.5. So you're just hovering there. We always talk about buying equities down at these levels. Well, Bitcoin looks pretty healthy right now, trying to break higher. And I feel like we still get back to this 72,000. It's not that far away. If we're going to talk about 54 being the bottom, that's 10 that way. Well, 10 this way, and you're at all-time highs again. So I feel pretty comfortable sitting in Bitcoin right now. Let's just see what winds up happening with it. But not too much action, I don't think, until after the election. And then Neil just talked about MAR. I mean, we've been putting MAR on the sticky note. I mean, I have it here. 17 long this day, 17.55 long this day. 2 or 3 days before that, that's another 17 long, but you don't have it on this one. But, you know, MAR has been really great as a base as well. So if we can get any sort of action in crypto, I would say looking long.
56.52, guys, is where we closed out on the ES September contract on Friday. We're above that level right now. 56.64 is the overnight high. When we look up, we don't see really any level of resistance past this point until we get to 5,700. So we'll say 5,700 as resistance, 56.50 if we're able to use that 50-point level as support. All right, guys, make sure you get the watch list every day. No morning routine is complete without a good watch list. I use it. I know everybody on the desks here use it, and it helps us organize our day, know what's moving for the afternoon, and help prepare your trading day. So make sure to get that Trader TV watch list, link in the description, or use the QR code there. Let's start with the first one here, NVIDIA. Lots of interest in this one because they do report on Wednesday, up or basically flat here at the moment, Dara, but these analysts, they're predicting more than double the earnings and the revenue on a year-over-year basis. Wow.
Yeah, this is quite the expectation. We actually have Dan Ives of Wedbush saying that these earnings are the most important market event of the year. So tons of expectations. In terms of what analysts are actually expecting, we have revenue estimates here of $28.24 billion, earnings of 64 cents per share. Though, of course, with NVIDIA, we're also always looking for a beat and a guidance raise. We had quite a few analysts last week raising their price targets for the stock with that in mind. Currently, though, valued at approximately 37 times forward earnings. So lots riding on NVIDIA tonight or Wednesday night.
All right, guys, make sure you listen to the call after as well, because there's going to be lots of commentary on when they're going to be able to actually release the Blackwell chip being delayed into next year, guys.
Chip, huh? Yeah, so look, I really like NVIDIA. I think that we always talk about this, and Neil said it starts and ends with, basically, the everyone's watch
might have
list,
overstated
right?
that.
So I just said today, I mean, I wrote down here, let's watch out for 127 support long. Could be chopping heading into earnings with a flat market. Be patient. So I don't think it's rocket science here today, honestly. We talked about wanting, and I've overtraded it the last couple of days. Thankfully, we haven't made any money on it, but we haven't really been crushed either because we've been able to play some of these dip buy opportunities, and these ones were missed by me on Friday. So that was a problem. That was 126.50. We had the 127 break long, which we wound up basically flat on, and then it ripped all the way up, and then I started shorting, I believe, somewhere into 130. We never got into that 130 break, but then I really feel like it's these dip downs. It's just pretty choppy once it starts to go. You know, you have to wait for the right opportunities. This pullback into VWAP was great. It really likes VWAP. I mean, it rode it all the way up. Once it finally broke it went down. Then it got choppy, breaks higher, kind of hangs around underneath, breaks it, and never looks back. So I feel like once you look back at an NVIDIA chart, sometimes it opens up. So I'm going to look for 127, and I was just using a 20-minute chart for this. That's where the 50-period moving average is, and the 200-period moving average. So I feel more confident waiting for this 127 area. So we'll do that. It's only $1.50, like $1.50 away from, you know, getting the handle there. So if we can get a 127 handle, then you never know if it flushes into that 127 area. So for me, NVIDIA ahead of earnings, I came in here and it was up about 1%, maybe even more, maybe 0.5%, something like that, up at 130.50s. And now you're all the way down to 129.50 already. We've already bounced off 129 that closed on Friday. So for me, I feel like it's going to watch the market. And if the market's going to be flat, then we sort of have to pick and choose here. So I'm going to pick lower as support and not play a breakout today unless something really happens with this NASDAQ.
Yeah, something's got to change. They stair step into the downside. The breakouts, you know, the breakouts have been okay on certain stocks. I just feel like the bigger cap tech, or like, you know what, just NVIDIA, maybe it hasn't been as good. So as Sean already mentioned, 126.5 was a double bottom. There was also the afternoon support at $128. I think that like everything's just going to start and end with dip buys at those two levels. And the thing about it is if it does the same thing on Friday where it dips into a level that might not be the one that you like and it bounces clean off of it, then just don't be afraid to look back at that particular price level. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So it's not that complicated. I don't know if we get 126.5 today, but 128 seems pretty decent given what's happening into this downside. Now, on the other side of the coin, you also have AMD. Now, AMD, forget about things like def cross, blah, blah. Yeah, the 50 crossed the 200. You know, that's usually a bad sign to the downside, at least people tell you that. But it's rejected the 200 period moving average, and then you've got some lower highs going in here since. So you kind of hold on to a little bit of a trend down overall on AMD. I don't know if we get all the way up to 158 for any kind of a short, but certainly when it tried to bounce on Friday, you got a false break at 56 and then a close at 55, which I think sets up those two for a short. Until this recovers back above 58 or gets down and tests maybe 50 again or 145, I'm still thinking overall short on AMD relative to NVIDIA. So that 156 high from Friday and then the 155 close are both levels I'd look to fade on advanced micro devices.
We got a super chat here from Mr. Donnie Zimbabwe. He's got Q calls here, it looks like. He's got NVIDIA calls at 127, and he says he might have to take the whole Trader TV team to dinner. Maybe. So I'm asking him, when is he coming here? Because why does it say might here? That's what I'm wondering. I might have to. You don't have to, but I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, if you'd like.
I mean, if he wants to, right there. But anyway, thank you, Donnie, for that super chat, and good luck, man. I mean, I don't know what you paid for those. The thing is that just a quick little, I mean, everybody that's watching the show probably, not probably, but has maybe traded options in the past. You know, just because you have 127 longs calls, you got to know what the premium paid, right? And so I hope you're able to pick that up from Friday, maybe, Donnie. And then we'll see what winds up happening here off the open. But I still, if there's going to be one stock long into the report, I mean, I think NVIDIA long, as I said. I don't even really look at short levels, so I like that call, Donnie. And good luck with the Qs. I might be flat, so I don't know if you want to sell against that position or not. But I'm not thinking an explosive day one way or the other. So that was. We should have a global dinner. Yeah, what exactly does that mean?
What global dinner?
Is that where like we all just join on Zoom and we just eat whatever our favorite food is in front of everybody? I don't know. Is that how that works?
Or you could have like a dish from each different like.
I would love. I mean, yeah, that's cuisine of all like sort like that's the flavor. Like I love traveling and tasting all different.
As long as we get to eat,
like,
I'm happy.
Even that's one thing that we're lucky about being here. Is that we have pretty much your choice of like every kind of cuisine authentic as well.
That's a good thing about Canada. Yeah. Toronto especially, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's many good things. That's one of many good things about Canada, including the Blue Jays apparently, right?
No,
you had a great time, and that's what entertainment's about, right? Look, it doesn't matter what the season is, you're making memories.
Exactly, that's all that that matters.
But I was thinking about this, couldn't we sweep Boston? We play 5 games in Boston starting tonight. If we swept them, I was looking at it, I think we could be 3-4 games back of the Twins or whatever it is.
I mean, they're not mathematically out of it,
right.
Let's put it that way.
And I don't think they're sweeping anybody.
What I like about it is like the young kids on the team are just playing free. Like, we traded a bunch of veterans to get a bunch of young guys, and the Jays are just playing free, and that's what it's all about. So you look forward to that future and definitely build some memories, to be sure. But yeah, these chip names, man, NVIDIA. If we get an inside day in the market, just be prepared. And it's not all about NVIDIA. Just be prepared. Like if we get down to support level, be willing to scalp off lows. Because we could be a little quiet going into Wednesday. It is not a crazy notion that we don't do anything extreme until then.
It's part of the show brought to you by Moomoo. Are you looking to maximize your idle cash? For Canadian users, enjoy 6% annual on cash balances up to $10,000 for 60 days, along with 2 month commission fees. 2 months commission free. You can also earn up to $2,300 in cash rewards when you transfer your portfolio. Both rewards can be enjoyed at the same time. With Moomoo, you'll gain access to comprehensive data on stocks, options, and ETFs. Plus, take advantage of algo trading, allowing you to create, backtest, and execute your own strategies. Set up instant alerts to trade on your own signals, helping you take your trading game to the next level. Thanks to Moomoo for sponsoring this portion of the show.
All right, guys, PDD, Pinduoduo, as they used to be called, reported overnight, down aggressively here, 11 1/3%. Not a good look. So look, they increased everything year over year, but they missed on expectations. I'll just give you a quick one here. Revenue, second quarter revenue up 86% year over year. Operating profit 156% year over year. However, they warned of slowing revenue growth.
Revenue definitely the weakest part of this report. They did miss on sales here. Sales coming in a little bit lower than expected. For PDD, 13.36 billion versus estimates of 14.02 billion. We also had both this chair and CEO, as well as the VP of Finance, warning that there could be some revenue growth slowing issues with the VP of Finance saying, quote, revenue growth will inevitably face pressure due to intensified competition and external challenges. That being said, as Sharif alluded to, the rest of this report pretty strong. 29% year-over-year increase in revenue from online marketing and a 234% year-over-year increase in revenue from transaction services.
Just remember, guys, that this is an election year and this company circumvents the minimum $800 tariff. That could change on a whim. So any of these import companies here from China, Temu Shein, Alibaba, all possibly subject to more tariffs this year.
That does put a little bit of a damper on things for them. So Pinduoduo actually has a decent enough looking chart. This is a weekly chart, by the way. You've till now been holding the 50 period on the weekly. Clearly, that's no longer the case. There's this support on the weekly from March, at 109. Actually, it was there in April as well. 109, 110 area. That seems like it would be the spot, or at least the area for bounce. Underneath that, you just have the 200 period on this weekly chart. So there's some room. Obviously, it's going to be down over 10% at the open. Nothing's going to bring it up 9% so that it isn't SSR. The only levels for that would be 9 and 10 if it can catch a bit of a bid. I just look at that trend down and the way that it's hugging VWAP. Part of me, this kind of a shock, part of me really just wants to fade a pop if we get one. I don't know if we'll get anything into, say, VWAP. I mean, when I sat down, I kind of wrote 120 because, not kind of, I did write 120 because it had a initial bottom there and a good consolidation at 120. Now it seems like it'll take an extreme move to get it to that $120 level for a pop and fade. 109 is support on the daily. So 9 and 10 is where I would look for some kind of an SSR bounce. And on pure sympathy, Alibaba, obviously to the downside, kind of had 84 marked off here. That's probably not going to matter today, the 84 level. So I guess if I'm looking for a place to pick up Alibaba, down around 79 and a half, 80, that'll make some sense and pretty much stick a fork in the fade off of 84, at least for now. So popping and fading on both these is going to require a lot of patience and a big move, as we're far away from the levels I would have wanted to short. Would have been the 120 on Pinduoduo, although you never know, and then this 84 on Alibaba.
I was trying to find out which ETF, because they're all going to the downside. Yeah. So I feel like an ETF could be something. We talk about KWeb. This is the large cap China internet stocks. So you're going to have a break, obviously, in these, right? So here comes breaking down in through $25. So I almost think this break at 25 looks pretty sweet. You're not going to get a bump up here, but look what's been happening. It was kind of an easy play now that you look at it, breaking below the 200, coming back up, bouncing off of the 50, and then heading lower. Could have faded all of these plays right here underneath 26, 27. So now you start to go down. So let me just make sure that is what's happening. So 25.50. So if you're going to look at a 20-minute chart, that's going to look like we break lower because we haven't been here in a minute. So I wonder about a 25 break. I'm not sure about the liquidity on this name. But again, 700,000 shares, FXI for me would be a short, man. That's $26. Anything into here, I like it. So you get a little bit of a bump early. I think FXI up near 26 is something to look at for the short. So I'd rather look at an ETF. And the other one I looked at was the same price, really, as FXI. So there it is. This one's $26 as well. You can see the volume over here, though, only 300,000. KWeb, 750,000. So that's interesting to me. Normally we look at FXI and KWeb, but I think today with the volume being on the internet side, I like KWeb a little bit better. That one still has to break through the 50-period moving average. So this could also be a break down below 26. So if you want to play momentum, maybe 26 down. If you feel like fading something, I feel like a 26 short up here as well. So 26 is on my mind today in China.
More China coming up here, Sean. Xpeng, their CEO, boosting his stake in the company by about 13.5 million shares. He did it a couple of ways, Adara, one personally and one through a corporation.
Yeah, so purchase here volume about $13.5 million through roughly 2 million shares here. This is between August 21st and August 23. Also, as quoted by the board here, the CEO saying that his move has to do with his conviction in the company's growth and its prospect, and he continues to boost his exposure in the stock, or at least plans on doing so. So interesting look there for the CEO of XPeng, now having roughly 18.8% of the company. Also worth noting here in the Chinese EV space, we have Canada announcing a 100% tariff here for Chinese EV imports, 25% on Chinese aluminum and steel imports. So some more tariff talk here coming out of the North American region.
XPEV, the only Chinese EV in green territory, guys. What's the look?
The only one. And it's, look, 4% is always going to be good in a normal sense. That said, it's not really going all that far when you look at it on this 15-minute or the daily chart, as I was just showing there. So it was setting up like it was going to be a breakout, maybe above $7.50. Now you've come back underneath on volume that looks only okay. So this would be that 7.5 if it could get above, but it rejected the you-know-what out of this exact same price. If you look at it on, was it last Tuesday? I'd be a little bit cautious with XPeng. I'm not, like, who was it in the chat just now? Was asking me about Peloton for a continuation play. I simply responded like, yeah, like, if you're looking for a cheap name that might break out and go today, okay, maybe XPeng. I like insider buying. I mean, maybe XPeng breaks 750, but you look at Peloton, which absolutely zoomed off of earnings and is going to be double topping this $5 level in here. It kind of just makes sense. Bigger short float, better. It was better volume last week, relatively speaking. It's a big level, 20% short float. Like, that looks more interesting for me as a breakout at like $5 than $7.50 on XPeng would be. So it's a pass for me on XPeng. Level looks okay. Don't necessarily love trying to break out a Chinese stock when all of them, I know they're an EV name, but all of them are down right now. Something like a Peloton for a squeeze play looks a little more exciting, at least in terms of risk to reward. Like Peloton, if it breaks 5, you could always see 556. I wonder how far XPeng could go.
I was going to look at, yeah, we don't have Tesla on the board there, but there's not much happening with it. That's I was just trying to, I was looking at Rivian, I was looking at Tesla, I was looking at Li Auto, I was looking at NIO. And I just, again, I'm just feeling like some of these names here, if we're thinking bearish today, the NASDAQ is down here 0.21, or 0.12, sorry. And meanwhile, Tesla's down, 4 times that. But we've seen how violent this name can get off the open. I mean, on Friday, it was just boom, like huge move, man. This was 213 all the way up to 221 in a half hour, an hour, I guess. But in the first half hour, we still ripped up $4 or $5, and then that momentum continued. So, and then there's those dip downs. I mean, it looks almost exactly like NVIDIA with these bases. I guess a lot of the tech names would, down into 216 again. So this will be another level here. If you do get sort of flip this around and you do get a move back down into here again, I think Tesla down at 215, 216 looks pretty supportish down there. And I don't know if we take out this top. So I would think that would be a great play if you could do that, 221.50. I mean, that would be awesome. You're not that far away. And again, we've just come back in about $1. So come back in $1. Maybe you take out the pre-market high of 221, and then you can scalp it for 50 cents. I don't think that that's really wise early on because you're going to put more risk than 50 cents on. So, yeah, this could be a candidate for a break long. I mean, Tesla has been performing quite well since that bottom. You're at the 50-period moving average. This 220, we talked about that once we got through 200. The next step was 220. Now it's obviously having a problem with this 235, 240 area. So definitely some support or some resistance up here on the high side. For me, Tesla's a buy down here, 215, 216. So that's about all I have right now for EV style.
All right, guys, Micron in focus here as Needham, not really a backhanded upgrade or anything like that, maintaining the coverage with Bayadera, but dropping the price target from 150 to 140.
Yeah, they did drop their price target here, saying that they're concerned about some repeated lower guidance for fiscal Q1 2025. So that would be the November quarter for Micron. As such, they've lowered their estimates and they've lowered their price target here for Micron, also saying that they're concerned about the company walking away from some near-term deals and citing moderated client demand. Also worth noting here, Micron reportedly interested in buying some factories owned by a Taiwanese company, AUO. This deal could be valued up to $620 million, so that's worth noting as well. Also in the semiconductor space, we've got stuff with Intel here. Reportedly, according to CNBC, hiring Morgan Stanley with regards to a potential defense with some activist investors. We know Intel's been in trouble, so lots of semiconductor things to talk about today.
All right, guys, what's the look?
Yeah, so for Micron, $100. Like it's, you would have seen the story, you would have seen the chart up there while Sharif and Adara were discussing this. It's pretty simple. Like it broke out off this level just a couple of weeks ago, and you dipped right into, it was like 100 and maybe like 30 cents or so on Friday. And on kind of a negative story here, you look like you're going to test that 100. So if it breaks 100, just sort of look short in the 96. If it's bouncing off 100, I think you can try to support the long in that regard. I wanted to throw Intel up. I don't think there's much of a plan change here on Intel. It's been a situation where essentially when it gets up into the $20.80 to $21 range, that's been a short level. When it was above it, it was above the 21. It's just been clean longs. Like clean long breaking 21, then turned into kind of a nothing burger, then a clean long when it held 21. So underneath 21, look short, and if it breaks out 21, kind of look to reverse into a long trade. Like that's the way I would approach the stock, and it seems to me like $20 is kind of a support level in there. So it's a bit of an over/under for Intel. It's been available to you when it's breaking out and holding above 21 to look for some longs on this stock for once, because it's been an absolute gong show for them. But until it gets there, it's resistance till it's not, it's a short to pop till it's not, and it's been a short to pop into 21 first.
I have an interesting name here. Man, maybe this one, where's Micron at? Maybe this one should have been on the sticky note now that I'm looking at this. I mean, it's been pretty bad. You're down 2% right now. We just showed you some other names that have been holding up near the highs, including NVIDIA and some of the AMD and some of this. But Micron now has had 3 or 4 straight down days here after not clearly running into a problem at 110. You guys want to talk about a wall? We talked about a wall on Walmart, and Shopify is another name that I really like that we'll get to as we go. But this one right here, now you're breaking, you're under the 200, and then you're right at $100. I mean, all this garbage was created once we broke 100, and then we had that, obviously we all know what happened a couple Mondays ago, and then when you stop right at 85, I feel like this name wants to test again. Like, can we go again? I think that's a move that we have to look for. That's the daily chart, what that looks like. And then right here, we tested it on Friday and didn't break. And today is a new day. So let's wait to see if we can break through 100 right now. As you can see, it was definitely a jump off spot right there. I guess that was on the 15th, 14th, 15th. So I think this break is something to look at for sure. It is Micron breaking below $100. I mean, if I could do like a sticky note part 2, I think I might just add this to it right now. Micron breaking through $100. I mean, this could be something. Let's try to watch that one today. And it's now on my radar. It's going on my side list here.
All right, some changes in the leadership of Solar Edge has this one aggressively up in the pre-market, about 10 1/3 right now. So Zvi Lando-Adera, CEO, stepping down. He's going to be replaced by a new CEO. There's going to be Ronen Fayer, who's going to do the interim job, but they're still going to be on the lookout for a new one. And then Ariel Porat going to take over the chief financial officer position.
Quite the series of transitions here, Sharif. Also worth noting here is Zvi Lando set to remain a member of the board of directors and serve as an advisor to the management team during the leadership transition. Interesting here, too, though, the interim CEO, Ronen Fayer, was actually the former CFO of SEDG here. Now we also have Ariel Porat, the new CFO. Apparently, this is already part of a pre-existing transition plan. So some of these seems to be new. Some of these seems to be previously announced. Lots to look at here, though, with SEDG. But clearly, investors are a fan, up over 10%.
Oh, yeah. Big move, guys.
Yeah, this is, there was already moves in solar. Essentially when you have Powell kind of confirming, well, we know we're getting the cuts, but, certainly looking like you're going to get more than just the one this year. 33% short float on Solar Edge. So that's a pretty sizable short float to be respected. It's not a good-looking daily chart for TAN or any of the individuals. But when you start to think about making a base on a stock like this, it just does not take much to get double-digit gains out of a name that's done this to the downside. So 32, it's like 32 and a quarter in here is the breakout price on SolarEdge on the daily. And then from there, there's, like when it came into this level and fell apart, like it was like $45, $46, $44, $45 in here. That was the previous support level. So it's got room to rally if it can take out this 32 quarter, no question about it, on SolarEdge. It's the short float that matters here, 33% short. So if it breaks it out, looks like it's got a lot of room to rally. 32 and a quarter on that daily here for SolarEdge. 925, so imbalance is probably just hit.
Yeah, they probably did. We'll have a look at those in a second here. I just want to talk about quickly Shopify. I have a 76.50 long break. I mean, this great rally continues off that 75.50 base, so we'll see how it opens up. Right now, the spread is, well, it just closed by 25 cents, but you can see right there, 50-cent spread right now, and Shopify is starting to turn down against this market, which is why we have to wait for that break. But you want to talk about something else going the other way. We talked about Micron maybe going one way. Shopify right here has looked pretty strong. There's that base, 75, actually, I guess it was 74.50, sorry. I'll have to change that. 74.50 is the base right there on Shopify. But I really like this break. Feel like we're strong. We're bouncing off the 200 period moving average. I got to edit that. It is 74.50. But right there, 76.50 breaking long. I mean, hold the 50 period moving average. Let's go Shopify. I mean, this name continues to be so super strong. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Hey, all right, so there it is right here, Shopify on the daily. Boom. You want to talk about the rally continues, man. This name was $50 2 weeks ago, $75 right now. That's 50% move there in a couple weeks for Shopify and looking like it wants to break. So, yeah, we're all about this. You just got to watch out. Like, I'm not, how many hundreds or whatever shares are you going to put once that breaks that 76.50 right off the open. I just think it's really risky right off the jump, so we'll have to wait to see that. Let's go over to Sharif, and then we'll come back with some of those imbalances.
We're talking about rate of change this week, Sean, a momentum oscillator that I think will interest a lot of our viewers. So if you're into these kind of things, make sure to join Adira and I on How to Trade at 11.
All good there? Yes, sir. So there was an imbalance here on NVIDIA. About 200, it was 380,000, now 280,000 to the buy side. Not gigantic, but it is a buy side imbalance. You see Alibaba to the sell side. Of course, Alibaba and Pinduoduo both to the downside this morning on PDD's earnings. Disappointment, let's just leave it at that. When you're down 19%, we can call it a disappointment, regardless of what you think of the numbers. So first dip here, NVIDIA did bounce off 129. You got 128, which was VWAP, which was support in the afternoon on Friday, and 126.5. That's where I'm going to be looking over there on NVDA. Do not sleep on a couple of flat bottom breaks, potentially. Maybe Meta in here. That's $523. It is currently support, but if that gets lost, you're under a lot of trouble here for Meta. And then as we were mentioning in the chip names, Micron at $100. I think Micron's going to break this, or at least test it pretty much right off the bat here. So very likely that would come in before you get anything on Meta. That 100 level, it just feels like that's really, really close to coming in. And David Kyle, I agree with you on XPeng, saying XPeng is shaky. Yeah, I just don't love this one for a breakout. 750 is a good level. I've just got eyeballs on that SolarEdge, maybe a little Peloton instead. I like the names with those big short flows. Big short flow for a breakout and a squeeze. A little bit more so than something like an XPeng, and that just might mean XPeng is going to make the big move, and it is what it is. You've got to pick and choose what you want to trade, where you want to trade it for what you think are the solid reasons. So I tend to favor SolarEdge because of the news and the short float, and the same thing with that Peloton. There's a lot of things moving around here today, so you got to pick your poison. Wow, Alibaba's continuing to now down 4% on Alibaba. This is not getting to. I don't know. I sit down, like when I was kind of going over my, like what to put in the note, it really felt like pop and fade off 84 for a Head and Shoulders was going to be part of my plan. And Alibaba has decided it might just test $80, or maybe even what is this, like 78's a big level on Alibaba, obviously $80. Looks like those are going to get tested before any resistance on BABA. You can have a plan of action, but just because I wanted to short it at 84, I don't think I'm shorting it all the way down here at 82. Not chasing that move whatsoever. Sympathy play downside because of what happened with Pinduoduo. Yuck.
All right, here we go. Yeah, Neil just reviewed a couple names there on those imbalances, so let's get ready to rock and roll. We're still going to look everywhere. I mean, if we get that dip by an NVIDIA early, we don't want to get too excited, but it's at 129.60. We only have 20 seconds until we go. We're watching NVIDIA. We're also watching Meta for that break lower. And this one, ooh, wow, Meta upside. Okay.
Oh, a little early.
Forget about the Meta break lower right now, 527 here. So, all right, here we go with only a couple seconds left. It should be a fun one. There's a dare, and here comes the bell. In 3, 2, and 1. All righty then, Micron, NVIDIA, Meta, Shopify. So a lot of different things on my mind right now, different sectors. Shopify trying to get going here. Here goes 76.50. It's going to break right off the jump. It's gone right now, Shopify. But again, waiting for it to settle down. It doesn't look like it's even been opened yet on the NYSE. Actually, no, I don't see an end print yet, so we'll have to wait on that one. And then Micron, I'm not in anything yet, guys. Micron right now trying to break. Yeah, not doing anything. We'll have to watch out for that 100 break as well. But the market's heading lower here.
Yeah, the market's heading lower. Nothing has hit any levels. I mean, Meta hasn't done anything. What's going on? That Solar Edge did not break that 32 high. BABA's just continuing to tank in here. Oh, it's getting really nasty to the downside for Alibaba's just breaking the 81 level. PDD was a potential SSR bounce. I mean, there was local support at 109. There's no bid immediately here. It just tanked through 9, tanking through 8. As BABA, PDD, 23% down now on Pinduoduo. And
23.
Maybe a 105 or 100 even on PDD. At this point, it's just starting to look nasty for them. Oh, wow, Meta's really starting to come in. So Meta tagged 524, no 23 break just yet.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, some selling right away off the open. I mean, NVIDIA's still green. It barely even dipped, but some big moves to the downside on a few names here. Wow, Alibaba and PDD taking it on the chin, guys.
Yeah, I'm still going to try that 523 break. I mean, it is impressive here. Yeah, it's going to be coming through. So we'll slow down. We haven't wanted many breaks right off the jump. So let's just hold on to this one and wait. The other break that I have on my mind, which the order's already in, is Micron. But again, that bounces off of 100. So we're going to have to wait, settle this all down. The one that we nailed, which we don't have, and we never trade it, but I'm glad at least we talked about it. There goes 130 on NVIDIA upside. Right now, KWeb does break that bottom of 25.50 and now back into 25 and change. NVIDIA false break right there on 130. So Donnie Zimbabwe and company there that are holding some of these calls and looking for NVIDIA to go. It looks like you might get that wish today because the NASDAQ is red and not going lower, but it's under. And NVIDIA's going higher right now. So that might be the trade right there today with NVDA in and around that 130. We may look back and be like, what? And what we're doing right now is looking back and saying, Tesla. What's up with that? Because here comes Tesla right into this area that we said was possibly a buy.
Yeah, and of course, it looks like Micron could have been a really good, just maybe play the dip off 100. That's the thing about a flat bottom break. You pick and choose. You want to take the break out or the break down. It means you're not taking that long out in front of it. Certainly looks like it would have been a good one in here. My eyes are right now going to be on PD. I mean, Pinduoduo already got to 105 here. So as far as SSR bounces, things like 100 even and 105 do look pretty appealing, but it's still falling like an absolute rock. I'm keeping eyeballs as well on Alibaba because when PDD bounces, BABA could have a better bounce because it was just a sympathy play into the downside. It's holding 81 pretty nicely here. Might take a shot at Alibaba if it can hold 81 here. But wow, nasty, nasty moves on these Chinese internet names.
We have our first play right now. It's Tesla. So we're going to go long on Tesla here, see if this one wants to sing back up to the upside. We do know that we like this name, and we've talked about this over and over again, down at those levels. So it does drop in. So we are actually pretty lucky to go over there and find that. We were looking at it, and so we will look even more. Go Tesla right now. If we can get up to 218, I think we could take a piece out in and around 218. I was actually waiting at 218.20s. Let's put something upside just in case it does get there and cancel. Actually, no, we'll just keep our 218. So if we get 217 and change, great. Just, you always have to look at the downside. I mean, hitting keys is easy. Winning trades is hard. Down here, 215.50. If we break that, then we're going to get out of the way of Tesla and take that first L on trying to buy some of these dips. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on right now. Micron right now, still upside. So that could be a short, actually. And I'm hearing right now something Mullen, M-U-L-N, moving on a $200 million contract now for Mullen. So there goes Mullen up 12%, starting to go.
Good for that.
Oh, man, Tesla almost gets us out. It went to 217.70 there. Just a couple more pennies higher. We're in the 80s, and we'll get an out for an 80-cent winner or so on Tesla. But for right now, it's just hanging out. So back and forth, pretty violent open for the NASDAQ, but some of these names just kind of hovering. So nice downside move. Look at the NASDAQ taking it out. And there it goes, Donnie, Zimbabwe and everybody else. NVIDIA breaking through 130 and see you later to the upside.
Didn't want to breakout trade on NVIDIA at 131. We wanted to dip buy. I feel like this is what happens, right? Like I'm not going to chase it. I'm going to stick to the plan and not do the dip buy. Piton did break $5 in here. I got 2s and 3s as it's heading into the upside. That smells good, Sharif. Going to get an offer at 510. There was a level on the daily at about $5.10-ish, like in and around here. So it needs to break out over there as well. Once it does that, there's a lot of room into the upside. Still a big move to the downside happening on PDD and some of these others. I mean, I've only been looking at Alibaba. I can imagine maybe JD's having a bad day, but you just held 104 with a wick back through 105. So this is the first time it's actually looked like a bid. Okay, I'm not chasing that $1. Maybe Baba's available there. Yeah, I'm not chasing that move. Let's go 81s on Baba instead of trying to be in PDD. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to give it to 81 on Alibaba. Go for the sympathy long instead of the one which has the reason for being down.
Yeah, we're going to, I mean, we're in Micron right now, but I was going to look at this name. So we're short here again off the 200 period moving average. So it's funny because we're long Tesla and short Micron. NVIDIA trying to go through 130 as well. So well, still hold 130. It just tried to pull back a little bit there with NVDA. So just quickly check on the heat of these stocks. Oh, the other name that's really, you want to talk about heat of a stock. The other name that's really heating up, and we're going to go to Adair in a second, is AMD. AMD right now, straight up. Boom. AMD up $3 straight upside. Watch out for 160 break. I have that on my mind. Come on, Tesla. Let's get going right now on Tesla, and then we'll watch Micron, but over to Adara.
Here's the story here, the whole story with that Mullen move, M-U-L-N, that was already given up some of that push to the upside. We have Volt Mobility, which is based in the UAE here, entering into this $210 million contract with Mullen involving the purchase of 3,000 Class 1 and Class 3 EVs. This does actually begin immediate shipping here with a $3 million deposit. So that's the story here with M-U-L-N. Contract with a company based in the UAE, guys.
158 is that 158's that level on AMD here. Let's just be patient about it. This is screaming to the upside. Okay, patience, patience, patience. The last time it was here, it got to almost $160. Do not want to jump in too early on it, but this is the level that we thought we'd be looking for some shorts on it. Alibaba tried to hold 81 just now. It did the wick underneath. I threw the stop at 81, but it just wicked out and now wants to reclaim that support. So looking like it is trying to hold that bid. It's mostly a sympathy play to the downside. Whoops. This is mostly a sympathy play to the downside, but really it has been falling like a little bit of a rock here. So let's be patient with it. If I get wicked out, I like to try to get back in at the same price, give it to the same stop level, not try to do anything too fancy with it. PDD is SSR. Alibaba is not. Usually I'd be on the SSR name. I just like Alibaba a little bit better. And Peloton is now starting to go to the upside. It just got to the 515, 518. So going to ring the register in front of the 20s here and those quarters. So Peloton breaking that $5, continuing to go to the top side. Not taking a breakout on NVIDIA, but we do want to be long on that sucker. We want these longs to try to work, but ring those registers if you can, because the market, it's not doing a heck of a lot. We could still be with an inside day here, at least the way that things are trading. NVIDIA looks like a 131 break. I'm going to go for the dip buy as opposed to the breakout trade. So maybe it fails a 131 and there's a dip. VWAP 130, pre-market lows sit at the 129 and a quarter. Those would be better levels, at least I think, to try and take. And here comes AMD. AMD is screaming to the upside here, but it's not at that resistance just yet. If I'm taking a shot at this short, this thing is strong.
Yeah, we'll have hit the sirens up right now for this as well. We've got a good little trade happening and brewing in Tesla. We just took some out at 66. It did not get into our 80s. And now, of course, as we hit that thing, it looks like it wants to pull back right now. So let's wait to see what happens with Tesla. We're still in our Micron trade as well. I like that AMD. I mean, we were looking at that earlier as well. Shopify. So again, this one looks to be the one that's working. It did dip back into 76.50 right there, and now it goes upside. So this was a name that we had written down as well. We're happy to be where we are right now in our positioning, but at the same time, if Micron breaks out this high, which is 102.25, we're going to be out of this one, because the real trade for Micron to me was this break of 100. That's what we wrote down on the sticky note. That's what we talked about before. So let's not just like say, oh, well, now we're going to wait for 103. Then we're going to wait for 103.50. Like, if it breaks lower, it breaks lower, and we'll be in it. So we're in it now. I've actually canceled my 100 break. Because we already have a good amount of shares. So if it does come back into that level, we'll be getting some out and we'll be able to notice it. So we'll hopefully add to this position if it does break back down below $100. But that would be almost a $2 winner at this point. So we're hoping for that if the market does fall back in. We're only getting pieces out of NVIDIA, and I'm kind of getting a little nervous now. I'm going to take this out at 50 again if we can, of Tesla. So we'll sit there, you go. So we'll take another one on Tesla right there. It's a money dropper. I mean, it's going to be a big stock for us, but it's only 50 cents, and we're waiting for more. So I'm still up there at 218 break. If we can get something around 218.20.
There goes NVIDIA.
There goes NVIDIA. Down or up?
It just tagged 131 on the dime. It was hard to see how many shares were on the offer. Suffice to say, it's a large order at that 131 that it's chewing through already. So let's see what happens with it. I didn't get the break on Meta. I'm still on the offer. No fill on that 523 break, as it went all the way down to 521. That must have been a heck of a lot of slippage.
I couldn't got, so I got 522.80. I couldn't get any bids.
I'm still offering 80s.
Yeah, well, it didn't get back there. I got it on the punch down, I guess. But I don't, we were so much in the money. I mean, we got a good fill, man. We got a 521.21 fill. So we got some outs on Meta, trust on that one. We took $1.40 on that first break there of Meta. So yeah, buddy, we're pretty happy on that one. And again, as it was written right here on the sticky note, that Meta trade is the banger du jour right there for that. But again, we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening. Tesla, we get it again. So we'll have to wait to see if that one keeps on going. But the one that's not working, as Neil was mentioning, with some of the chip space, I mean, we're doing great now. I mean, now we're cruising. Hopefully Meta does fall back in. But it's Micron, your next man up to come back into the downside. If that happens, then great. There it is, Neil. It is. There it is. It's $2 now in the money. $3 in the money now on Meta. So let's see how far this one can go. There it is. We finally did it. So that's a good little move there. We did get some more out. So that's going to be a good one. Now we wait for Micron, Meta, and Tesla. So far, so good on these names. But hey, Meta could be a loser before you know it. We've already got out of half of this trade. Adara.
Nice little volume spike here for AMC Entertainment Holdings. AMC is the ticker for this one, of course, getting this pop off of the open. Not any news, but quite a lot of social media attention. With this one, it's always worth noting we do have a 14.4% short float. Market cap here of around $1.82 billion. So AMC looking to make another pop today, guys.
Yeah, the AMC. We'll see if that one ends up being worth trading. Look, obviously the market hasn't done a heck of a lot, but it did just turn around and might be good for the shorts here, because 19.8 I should say, on the NASDAQ, you just tagged the high and then wicked it and approaching those lows. If we break those bottoms, hold on to your butts, hold on to your shorts. I'm long two name, but one of them's a squeeze name and one of them's a Chinese ADR. So hopefully that doesn't follow along. But with that break in Meta, I left an order in there. I did not get picked up at 80. I threw another one at 70 to try and chase it a bit down. It just tagged the $0.50 521. If 520 breaks, there's still lots of room to the downside on this. If you're looking over at NVIDIA did break 131. So false break on NVIDIA, at least for now. If it can hold on to VWAP, I said I don't want to play this breakout. We look for a little something if it can hold a bit of a dip buy. Alibaba, we rang the register as it just got to VWAP and slowed down a little bit. So sitting here for more out in front of VWAP, that's 81.80, long here at the 40 level, as the Chinese ADRs have been taking it on the chin. Pinduoduo. The thing that's cautious here is PDD's almost at 100 and still going down. So I'm not reloading Alibaba as long as PDD's still falling like rock. 26% down, and it could tag $100. That would be one heck of a potential bounce level, but there's been none. just yet. Peloton held on to VWAP on the way back in here. I'm not reloading this at VWAP yet. Still looking at that $5 level. So far, so good. But be cautious with any longs. This market seems to want to test these lows.
Damn is right. Yeah, this is starting to go right now. I mean, we're happy to be in these shorts, that's for sure, with Meta. And then we're going to wait to see what happens with Micron. I am adjusting my expectations right now for Tesla. So I'm going to buy some more 216s, but now the stop is at 216. So that's going to be an area for me to get stopped out if it does continue that way. We want to be something long. I mean, this Meta could really sing. And by the way, if Micron comes in, we're now in the money on Micron. We've been sitting in this name for what seems to be long for me, 10 minutes. So we'll wait to see what happens now with Micron. Now that just bounces right back off again. So, hey, man, maybe we're not in the right spot here with Micron, but I'm still pretty okay being sitting in that one. And then again, this name just keeps bouncing, man. This name is Meta. It just keeps on bouncing off 520. So if you are one of those nervous hand traders, this could be one of those levels that you think about, all right, you know, is it going to break? We don't know. But is there a chance that it holds? Yeah. I mean, the NASDAQ right here is at the bottoms, and it's just been respecting these pre-market bottoms. So if we break lower, see you later. We're gonna be, I mean, the amount of excitement that may hit this floor is going to be huge, because if this comes back in, we've already got Micron short and we really like this name. And then we've got on like a good position on Meta. So if that breaks lower, then we're all good. And remember, we warned about Tesla here coming in as well. So we've already got out of half of this Tesla position, but at the same time, we're not really reloading it. I was sitting here at 216.30s to see if we can get some more. We missed on that. And then if we break 216, then we're out, because I want to be really singing with these shorts. So right now it's $2 in the money on Meta. It is now hopefully going to, there he is. We get filled at 50s now. Let's go. Let's bring the pain on Micron. We have more shares on Micron than anything else. So let's wait to see here for Micron. But nominally, it's actually pretty close to the same, Meta and Micron right now. So let's get down to the downside. Neil, we're doing it right now. Come on, Micron, and come on, Meta. Just break below, guys. If this market comes back in, let's go. This could be a really, really good opportunity here for us. So let's get to the downside. We'll take some off on Tesla at 217 just because we want to get off of this. Let's see what we go to the downside right now. Come on, Micron, and come on, Meta. So far, so good, guys.
Market just broke lows.
We're doing well.
Market just broke the lows. Meta, if it takes that 520, there's when I say there's room, it's like $515 is that next level. Obviously did not get that top on AMD. As you can see, didn't quite get there, but now it's screaming under VWAP. So if we're adjusting the plan, it's to short VWAP if we even get back to it. Market's absolutely flushing. Thank goodness Baba is holding up because it's probably doing its own thing, and then Peloton is holding up because it's a squeeze name. So I'm not terribly concerned with those. I do want to find another short opportunity in here if we're not going to get AMD. I don't necessarily love VWAP on Intel, and thank goodness we didn't just boldly jump into NVIDIA. NVIDIA just lost VWAP temporarily. When the market's looking weak and we're under lows, do not want to be fighting this. The other one I had in my note for short was actually Amazon, but I can go ahead and cancel 178. Looks like 177.5 is going to be that local high. So we're sitting in our winners looking for something else weak that we can find. There is a halt trade, this ASST asset something halted. It's 174, the current tap. It was a big runner this morning. It's trying to go again here. So big runner on ASST. We'll see what happens when this sucker opens up. But thankfully, a couple of longs, the market goes down. Alibaba just crushed through VWAP here. It's trying to get through 82. If it gets anywhere near 84, that's an out for me. I thought 84 was a short level on Alibaba. So if we get, even to 83, I'd be looking to take this one out. PDD, which is the reason why it's down, is starting to make a bottom at 120 bucks. That could be good for Alibaba. Adara?
We're noting here for that ASST asset technology, some details if you're looking at this one. We do have here a short float of about 3.8%, total float of just over 1 million shares, about 1.07 million shares, market cap here of about $3.48 million. No news on ASST, guys.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, if you're here with me, then you are here with me right now. Spin it. Right now, Meta's huge, right? We talked about that. These are sticky note trades, by the way. There's Meta 523. And guess what? We added Micron short to the game as well. So, yeah, man, this is what it is. One more time here live on the show. There's Micron, 70 cents in the money. And remember, we were sitting in this loser, and we were like, hey, this is our biggest position. We still like it. Where's our outs and yada, yada, yada. So there it goes. Nice downside move there for Micron. Trying to bounce back a little bit, but we're clearing this out at the 50 period, man. We do not need to be too greedy with this one. It's Micron, and it is absolutely a banger right there for the short side again. Now, the only problem here is we did get out of some Tesla at 217 for flat there, and that's trying to come back up. So all good on that one. And then Meta. What do you want to do, Meta? We're out of half of Meta, so hopefully this one doesn't turn nasty, but it's trying to bounce off the bottoms as well. I was saying that 520 could be a hold. I'm surprised that Meta is not like $10 in the money right now. I'm not even joking. Like, we broke that level there. I thought Meta would be screaming to the downside, and it's not necessarily doing that. So I might put a bid at 520 and get something out there. I do have a bid at 518, though.
Yeah, it's finding some support. It's not like it's a big bid or anything stacking it up there on Meta. It's just finding some buyers that are holding on to that lifeline. I got my eyeballs over here on PDD. I keep thinking the next push down is going to be $100 on Pinduoduo, and that should be the next trade for an SSR bounce play. But it's holding 102.5 like an absolute champion. At some point, if VWAP is at 110, so this is able to make any kind of a decent SSR bounce. You've got so much room. So one push down, I'll look for that 100 level. Piton just bounced off VWAP. So looking to add to it here and tighten the stop into 505. We got the 01s and 02s to the long side on Peloton. 520s as far as it went. NVIDIA is now looking very weak, getting down into 129. Really? AMD never got the short at VWAP, never got it at that 158. Going to have to look to short the first available pop here. AMD's the one I wanted short, just like on Thursday and Friday. Prefer this one, relatively speaking. It might bounce off the previous close price, and then we look to short the pop. That ASST did open back up and almost halted again, got to $2, so that's still looking relatively strong. My squeeze play is going to be Peloton here. We said we picked that one over XPeng. And glad we did, because XPeng broke 750 and is now at 740. Adara?
This part of the show brought to you by Benzinga Pro. Tired of being late to the trade? Always playing catch-up in the market? Missing out on the big moves because you're too slow to the news? Benzinga Pro is your unfair advantage. Get breaking news alerts up to 30 minutes before everyone else. Pinpoint exactly why stocks are moving, and join a thriving community of traders who share their strategies in real time. Ready to see how Benzinga Pro can transform your trading? Visit benzinga.com/pro and get a free 14-day trial.
You're with 3 for 3 so far. I mean, there goes Tesla. So we took another piece out there at 50. We're still holding this. Tesla right now, guys, has entered the dollar club. Let's see if we can break through that 218 and make it official. But it's banging on that door, man. Let us in that club right now. And there it comes. Nice move back upside here for that play. And wow, it's just so funny because I'm seeing one ripping and I'm like, wait a second, Micron's still going to the downside. Let's go Micron right now. Good trading lower here. I'm going to bid some out again right there. Okay, we just got hit at 7s there. So here comes Micron. I don't have any more bids. Good trade here for the short side for MU. Great trade, though, for the long. I mean, if you guys are here, man, we have $1 right now on all 3 positions we're holding right now are dollars in the money. So we've got Meta just bouncing back up now, though. Micron's $1, Tesla's $1, and Meta has been $3. But that's our best outs, has been down here at 21s. So we'll wait to see if we get a 20 fill right now. But I mean, today, again, another good day. And these were all, it's not like this is rocket science. All the trades that we have on here, Tesla, we discussed this. I feel like this is a no-brainer. I mean, when it was falling down into there, I was like, I mean, just rewind the tape to 8:45 when we were talking about Tesla. And I was like, if Tesla gets into 216 or so, this is when we want to buy it. So it falls right in. And we were like, thank you very much for that one. We did have to hold out on it, though, right? But for it to finally go. And now it's finally going. And then obviously the stock that was sort of our stock of the day here, Micron, we had looked at that one for that higher trade. And then it came in and we don't even have to wait for that break. So right now, Yeah, man. Pretty good day over here. We're going to go 3 for 3. And like I said, all these names dollars right now. Meta is the one that's bothering me because I really feel like Meta should be lower than where it is right now, and it's not. So this is the one that's bothering me the most.
Futures are trying to come back a little bit here. I don't like the fact that it broke 520 and decided it wanted to get right back in. VWAP's at 23, so that's going to be a good level regardless. The breakdown, that's how it tends to work sometimes, like that key price ends up being key on the way back in. I want to quickly point out right in here, that flat bottom break, there's your VWAP. If it's a good reload, I want the futures to be underneath that bottom at that 523 for Meta, but it does still seem like it wants to head into the downside. Peloton just tagged the top and pulled back a little bit here, so 520 again finds resistance. I was on the bid earlier at VWAP. Now that it tagged the high, I'll let it get back to the bottom, try and bounce off VWAP once again. Still, its market looks incredibly weak. Pinduoduo is now no longer making fresh lows. So you've made a bottom at $102 and like 20-something cents as you're going sideways here. It's like 31 is the bottom here on PDD. So if it's going to test this one more time, it's going to try and break this low for like the third or fourth time here. If it doesn't break the bottom, I'll probably try a long, hopefully 30, 40 cents above, give a stop to the low of the day. Down 27%. This looks pretty nasty. NVIDIA is breaking the low of the day as we speak. AMD just continues to absolutely flush. But this PDD, I like these trades for SSR bounces. This is probably the biggest SSR bounce you can get when it's down 26%.
There must be so much pressure on these chip names because nothing's happening with Meta. But guess what? Now we're at $1.30 on Micron as that continues to crash in again. I just hope that a lot of you stuck with this trade. It just came back into the bottom, and we did not have it. Patrick, now $1.40 now on Micron. But here it is right here, $100.50. We're bidding now. Am I not bidding this? I'm bidding 50s flat. So if we get that fill, there it is right there. We got it, I guess. Yes, we did. Right there. That goes into the gates of hell, man. Your biggest trade of the day is going to be Meta, but Meta's, hopefully going to be $3. But right now it's Micron, and we talked about the share size. Micron, a trade that we really liked there today, down 2.5%. We actually based this out for everybody by adding it to our sticky note at the end. Okay, there's Tesla, just got reloaded down here as well. So Tesla, look at that out that we had, and now we just put on small. We talk about it. If we can get this level here, we'll take it, and we'll be able to rinse in and out of this. That'll be fine by me as we continue to go back up to the upside maybe here on Tesla. So yeah, let's just see if we can get 20, 30 cents on the long here. Like, this is crazy that all this stuff just continues to work out here. So there it goes. Nice out there at 60s. Nice out there at 68s. Beautiful trade again, Neil, on Tesla. There it goes, man. Wow. All right, we are really, really cruising right now, man. $1.50 in the money on Micron. Meta not doing things that we like, but we'll see. And then look at that reload there on Tesla. By far the biggest names today. Tesla, Micron, you have, not Alibaba, Peloton's there working. So far, so good here, guys. It's going to be P&L number one, and for me, it'll be Micron. And then Meta is right behind. But Tesla could put on some damage. Hey, man, we're 70 cents in the money on this Tesla trade, and we just put it on down here for the second time in a row. So, yeah, so far, so good here today.
Yeah, no question about it. Not going to complain. I mean, obviously, Meta is going to be fantastic the way it's going. But the one that's going to matter right now is going to be the first shot at PDD. It's not at 100 yet. It's right at that low. It's a random price. It's like 102.30 is the current low of the day. Let me zoom in so you can see the scaling a little bit better in here. There you go. Like, it just needs to hold on once. I want one shot at a bounce play and then hold it to the low. It just took out that low. I know you're only risking 40 or 50 cents, at least I am. But when I'm playing an SSR bounce, it's never about, give it a ton of room. It's about find a tight stop and then just see if it can rally. It's down here for a reason. At least the market thinks it's down here for a reason. So I'm going to try and respect it. Piton did not get to VWAP, so it looks like I might have missed my chance to reload. It was like one little tiny wick to VWAP, and then it bounced higher. But I was on Peloton. I was on PDD at that time. Still higher lows, still looking like a good breakout for sure on that one. NVIDIA, it's trying to hold the bottom. It's not even close to 128 where I thought the dip buy might be. It's kind of holding on to 129. Just got to be patient with this sucker. If it's going to be a dip buy at 128, I'm not going long at 129. And a similar thing with AMD. If we're shorting pops on this thing, VWAP now sits $1.50, $2 away on that one. Chris Tarr saying, look at Amazon. It seems like it's found a bottom.
Micron.
We'll see. Yeah, Micron just broke that 100 level. For me, that was a 100 break. Didn't like any resistance levels on it, but I'm not giving this past the prior low. So breakdown, prior low here. That's 131.
There's your first $2 winner right there. No, we have two of them actually. We have Meta and this one, and we have Tesla's back in $1 again. There goes Micron, man. Exactly as it was written right there. Big day there again. And we're going to tell you this because you always see him on the show. Number 2 in the office today, and he's holding a position right now, so we don't want to jinx him, but we'll do it anyways. It is going to be Obi, so congratulations right now to Obi for putting up some numbers here today as he's in there as well. So here we go. Let's see if we can put more damage on the board. We said that we would add to this Micron position, so we did. There's the break of 100, and here it comes in, man. We're putting up numbers with shares here. Let's see if we can go down into the 70s would be nice. We're at 80s right now. Can we collapse even in further than that? I say, yes, we can. And there we go. Tesla right now is $1 now in the money on Tesla as well. Wow, we are really just on one right now, man. We have Meta, dollar, Micron. I mean, come on, Tesla. These are 3 huge stocks and 3 huge opportunities. Hello? Today as well. We do have numbers coming up, though, so let's go and flip it over to Adara.
No numbers here until 10:30 when we'll get the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index coming through. We did get numbers, though, at 8:30 a.m. Much stronger than expected durable goods on a month-over-month basis, but core durable goods actually coming in a little bit lower than expected. S&P 500 chopping and churning here around that $563 level this morning. We actually had the Dow Jones Industrial Average touching a new intraday high and actually set to close at its first record closing high since July 17th if these gains continue. So lots of strength in a lot of these indices here. Also worth noting some comments from Fed's Barkin, kind of unexpected, saying that disinflation is starting to spread beyond goods. So that we'll see if that continues to spread. Nice comments there from Fed's Barkin. Fed's Daily also not initially scheduled, but now set to speak here at 2 p.m. today. So lots of Fed speak to keep an eye on. PDD, Pinduoduo, the big earnings name of the day, down about 26%. They did beat here for adjusted earnings per share, and they did have 86% Q2 top line growth, but they missed on sales here and had a little bit weak revenue projections. Pinduoduo strongly to the downside. We have SolarEdge here as well, doing quite the reversal. We had SEDG initially up about 10% after announcing a CEO change, now down about 6% for SEDG. Last but not least, Boeing on watch here. This one also having a bit of a reversion, much like what we saw with SEDG. Initially down, now trying to climb up to positive territory. NASA selecting SpaceX to get these 2 astronauts home here that are stranded in the ISS over Boeing Starliners. So bit of a negative story here for BA, guys.
Thank you, Adara. Let's just go with the flossing right here. Let's say heads up. I just saw Neil do it too. Let's go Hydration Nation. Man, are we seeing things clearly now? Clear as water. I mean, there goes Micron. Let's go. I mean, there's the break of $100. We had written this one down as well. So this is going to be, like I said, for me, we traded it, in my opinion, perfectly the way I wanted to. There is Micron. We actually broke this down for you guys earlier when we had it on the show. Look at all this consolidation. There's the break. Here it is coming in. There's the $100 break. Not only do we have the $100 break, we also have the 102 short right there as well. And then you're saying, well, like, that's nice. What about Meta? Well, Meta right here, we just took some more out at 522. We have a good size position, obviously. So we're going to wait. There's the 523 break. So far we have Micron on the short. That's working. Meta right there. We've left NVIDIA alone. We'll have to go have a look at that. We also want to look at the TQs. And then Shopify we've left. So we'll go back and look right now. But it's the biggest and the baddest right here so far is going to be Micron. I mean, Micron, just as we talk about that, is a big trade. You got to put on shares when you see something you like, and we hit it again. So normally we don't add to positions, but this is sort of the evolution right now of myself as a trader, is just getting so much better at being able to add, put on risk, and really see these things. So there it goes to the downside. It's Micron, and it is working, man. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day right now. Look at Tesla. It's another one. Because you know what? I mean, look, Kathy, we've already bought it, okay? You don't have to stop. But there it is, the bottom of the day on Tesla, bringing it right back into VWAP again. So yes, sir, this name continues to work. Watch out for Micron making a move back, and we'll get from Adara right now.
Still pushing higher here, near highs days up about 40% right now. Did mention this story earlier, but looks like this one's still moving after announcing at 9:30 today that it's entered this contract with Bolt Mobility, which is based in the UAE, $210 million contract with Mullen with regard to the purchase of 3,000 Class 1 and Class 3 EVs. Mullen will set to get its first $3 million within 60 days and set to ship these vehicles immediately. Also a 28.3% short float for MULN, guys.
Yeah, the float, obviously the amount of splits that they've had, the float drastically changed, but it's still a pretty large size float for Mullen. That 50-cent break, I would look for a fail break off that 50 level for Mullen. Certainly can be a runner if it wants to go, squeezes, all the kind of potential. NVIDIA just bounced off 128 even, so worth a bit of a caution here as the market's still heading lower, but NVIDIA tried to bounce off 128 once. It did it the second time. I tried to grab quarters on the way back in. Gonna leave it in, give it to 128 even. If we get an opportunity on a bounce, I mean, I look over as NVIDIA is bouncing and AMD is not even doing anything off the lows. It's just continuing to bleed. Peloton is still trying to break through this top. This is now 1, 2, 3, 4 times, like 4 separate wicks on a 3-minute that it hasn't been able to break past $5.20. So it seems like this one could be coming back in. I've got a trail out underneath 505, but if it doesn't break and squeeze, it could be that the attention is going to other names. And maybe Mullen is one of those. I'm thinking if Mullen does a fail break at 50, you want to join this one off of VWAP, still looking relatively weak there. So I have my bid on NVIDIA, trying to pick up that 120 on the way back in. If it travels too far, I'm looking to fade on AMD, not NVIDIA. So if AMD can get back up, even 155, previous close, would be a good level for me to play the short. Closed at 154.98, so I think forget about VWAP at 56. I want this one to the south side and south side only. Meta's still doing pretty much the same thing. It can't get back to 523. If it does not break 520 here, I think I'm going to want to take this one out. Looks like there's been buyers down at that price every single time. If they do it again, I'm jumping out.
All right, there we go. See, I did not jinx it. Congratulations, Obi is now out, so he's got that one going as well. So we will not talk about the stock, but if you guessed NVIDIA, you would be right. Okay, so here we go. Meta right now, again, nice downside push. We're still in this name. We're pretty, I mean, we've got this market today, I feel like, and I don't want to get too carried away from getting in and out of things now. Sometimes we've been known to overtrade. Hello? But so right now, it's all the ideas working, man. It's Meta working. I'm bidding 518s. So hopefully we do get a breakthrough now and we can really have a good day here. We're already having a fantastic one. Micron trying to break lower again. There it is. I was going to say I'm bidding 50s. Bang. And again, guys, just so you guys know, fruit salad was pretty good today. We did have that coming through right there. That's enough, says DJ Khaled. I don't eat fruit salad, said DJ Khaled, but John Travolta's like, what are these winners all about? There it is, a nice move to the downside right now, 99.51. And if you said John Travolta and John was like, hey, man, where are you getting these ideas from? Then you would have to say, it has to be from the sticky note. So right now we have Meta 523. That's $2 in the money. We have the Micron short. That's now almost $3 in the money. The Shopify we'll have to look at in a minute. TQs we'll look at it in a minute as well. But realistically, man, I mean, how many trades do you need? We just have these 3 trades, and they're 1, 2, and 3 P&Ls right now. So these are big trades. And when they work, they work. When they don't, they don't. And I mean, today they are working. So there goes Meta to the downside. And I feel like Meta has a lot more downside to go, which is why when it broke through 522, I did get out of another piece there, which doesn't look good now. I was just like, maybe there's too much strength in this name, and we are just sort of hanging out right now on Meta. Thank you, Randy, for that one.
Probably shouldn't have changed this.
Randy, Tesla's been fitting like a glove here today. Nice downside push there. We get long, we get out for $1. Then it falls right into our lap there at 216 again. So it's been so far so good here. And look, Randy, I mean, this is why you should come trade on the floor. Look at this. Look at this support right here. You know, you're going long off that, right? So a nice move to the upside right there right now. And then this one, Randy, Meta right now, breaking this 523 bottom. Let's see where this one goes right now. Almost, Randy. What happens if you're short at 523 and it's at 520? How many dollar clubs is that? Did you say 3? Let's see if we can break it. right now. We're waiting for $5. Here it goes. Bang, right there. There's it coming in. We go props up. There goes $5.19. Thank you, Randy, for coming through right now. We now have $4 in the money on Meta. We have a big trade alert happening right now on Meta. Can we get that dump? Yes, we can. I feel like it's a good one there, Randy. You know what, man? This is what we go for. I love this is a brisket trade right there. And you know what? It is your #1 trade idea today on the sticky note. We'll see if we can get it. We're at 518.50. So if that can come through right there, Randy, that's a $4.50 winner. We'll see if we can get it. We'll just sit here on our hands and wait. So it looks like it could come in. Yeah, no,
it looks like it wants to.
That's not brisket. Yeah.
Flat bottom break, everybody. That 523 on Meta. Great look there. Who'd have thunk it, man? Cheers. 523. Sometimes it is what it is. When the shelf breaks, it can be a bid underneath it. Other times, you just got to look for that short. Same thing with a breakout trade. You look for that explosion at those key levels. There's room into 15, but this is where we start looking for the trails in here. NVIDIA is just still bleeding, by the way. So there was no bid at 128. Well, I mean, there was probably somebody there, but they weren't there for long. So there's no bounce off the 128 level. You had to try and maybe grab a quick little 60-cent scalp once. Now we're going to be 126.5. So I'm not standing in front of any falling knives on this stock. I'm going to let it get down there and see what happens. If it tries to bounce off 126.5, that's the level that we're going to like. So let's hold on to your butts at this point as the market seems to want low. Micron's going down. At least Peloton for now is trying to hold. Oh, and Mullen. See, false break at 50 cents and starting to pull back. I want no part of these breaks at these highs on these stocks. Always look for the dip buy. So VWAP sits here at 43 cents. 45 is a nice round number as well. So I'm looking to maybe join this one. If it's going to be a down day in the market, then sometimes these squeeze type names are the only thing that are worth going long.
Oh my, will be a couple face slaps happening back and forth right now. There goes Meta, now $5 in the money. And again, man, it's like, it's right here. This is it right there. 523 posted right there for Meta. So, we got it. It came in. And like when it first came in, I was like, oh man, that just like tanked down $2 like real quick. And then we took some outs. We got nervous there. Now we still have a piece. We just took 2 outs down there, I believe. Yeah, we got a 60 and a 50 there on Meta.
Just 835 thou on the bid.
We are now in the money again on Micron. That's now $1. So this Micron trade is $3 in the money. So we have a $5 winner on Meta, $3 on Micron. It's not going to show $3 because we've added to the position. As you guys know, that's how it works around here. It's too bad because I didn't realize I had 2 orders there on Meta, or else we maybe could have gotten some more out down there at 518, but we'll take 2 more outs down there at 518 for your banger of the day. This is probably, unless something was done when I wasn't here, this is going to be the largest day for the open so far. It's only 10-11, and it's just because we were just confident in the trades. Micron, we knew we wanted the short. We talked about this market here today, and there it goes, man. Nice downside push into these lows. So Micron breaks, and you want to talk about a flat bottom break. I mean, this is exactly why we put this stuff out on Twitter. I didn't even have a Twitter account before the show. Oops, that's the ribs. But it was right here, trying to show trades, and that's what it is. You guys have asked for this, thanks to Adam and thanks to everybody that's part of our family. You guys, you want clean, simple trades, easy to follow, easy to look at. These are pretty easy trades today. I mean, this Meta trade is just a doozy, man. I mean, that was something else. I'm not sure where we'll hold this last piece back to, but we only have about 15% left. We got 2 outs down here. We were holding 40% for this drop. So that's why the numbers are being put up right now. Then the reload on Micron. I mean, this was really a confidence thing. You don't reload a stock when you're already in the money, $2, unless you really like that trade. And there it goes to the downside. And like I said, Neil, man, so far so good. Great trading today. Props it up.
Yeah, only had 3 short ideas today. And unfortunately,
Ramin missed it.
Oh, Ramin missed it? We have a key for that.
Because she's got that hot matcha over there. Did that come through yet?
Yo, Ramin...
I asked too late because I was like, nah, I don't want one.
No, Ramin...
She did offer.
Ramin Ubered
did offer.
her her matcha this morning and offered to every single person on like everybody. She's like, Neil, would you like a matcha? Dara, I think Dara said yes. There you go. Did you? I mean, obviously
No, I
you
said no
didn't.
because I go out and get
very
stuff.
thoughtful.
I was like, I didn't want
thoughtful.
Ramin to flip the bill for it. So
Exactly.
I
Well-
said no, but I'll go. I got the address. I'm going to go when I go for my walk. I'm going to go grab that as well as a haircut, I think.
Oh, just one. The market, yada yada yada, dumping. I did take an out here on this wick of Meta. It just tagged 518. Sorry, it broke 518. It wicked 518 and came back. Trailed some out under 518 and a half. I still think there's like the bottom of this move. It's not the bottom of this move. That's not what I mean. The most significant price is right here next, 515. It was a close on the 12th, support on the 13th. If it makes one more push down, that's what I'm looking for. If we break back up about 520, I'm actually thinking maybe just give it to VWAP the last little bit and see what happens. Micron's a clean move off that buck, but NVIDIA is starting to bounce. So NVIDIA just bounced not quite at that 126.5, but very, very close to it. That's a big bounce on NVIDIA here as it's starting to scream back into the upside. Yeah,
I just got too
probably shouldn't have been fist bumping as much as I didn't think NVIDIA was going to get to 126. It was just at $128. I was just talking about it at 128, and I said I will not be sitting on bids at levels like this. But now big bounce for them. Still want VWAP here on Piton as it's bouncing off of VWAP. So I'm just going to play the trend game with this. And that's going to mean after the break, the trend now, I mean, obviously VWAP is the trend line, but fine, I'll just draw a trend line anyways. But you got VWAP anyway. So if it breaks down underneath VWAP, I'm going to jump out of this. So far, it has managed to resist the dumping that's going on in the market. However, the market's not going down forever and Peloton going up forever. I don't think that makes a heck of a lot of sense. I feel like Peloton at some point probably joins the market, but we'll buy dips until that happens. So NVIDIA does seem like it wants to test this 126 and a half. I'm going to see if I want to get a stop underneath that resist or support at least first before we get into the long. I like the fact that we can put our stops in before.
Yeah, I took the long here at 127 because I was like, oh my God, I got too complacent and I didn't notice how far this went down. So I do thank Neil for bringing that up. So we're long at 127.08 right now against that 126, against the bottom, which has almost got broken there. So 126.70 or so will be out of NVIDIA. But right now, here it is. We are back into the long. We just took some more out on Micron, by the way. We sort of talked about that one. We are now, we're out of Tesla. Tesla, big trade, honestly. But look where we're at. We're out at 216 break. So okay, here we go, NVIDIA. Wow. This is a day, guys. This is just a day. Let's see if this will want to go back up to the upside here. Let's go, NVIDIA, man. We're long here. It's not like it's huge, but if it goes back up to the upside, we'll take it. Couple outs there for NVIDIA. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Another hot dog cannon trade here for NVIDIA, Neil. We're now 40 cents. Did you get that bottom? We're now yes, good. We're now 40 cents in the money on this one. It's NVIDIA. Let's just take some more and more pieces out here as we go and sort of just keep going. I mean, this is what we're doing. Now we have our first long on for the day. It's NVDA. It's a long, and we're in this one. Micron, thank you very much. Another face slapper right there. As we'll take another piece out down there. $5 in the money on Meta, that's all. Micron right now, $4 or $5 in the money as well. That's still going downside. And NVIDIA, good thing we took some out in the 20s and 30s up there. Right now, NVIDIA working out as well. What a good...
I'm out of Micron.
Yeah, good.
So Micron, just very quickly, zoom out the 15-minute chart. Just try to quickly explain to you here. When it was last at 100 was this day. There is your 100. There's your break from 100. That dip support was at $98. So playing that range, like to me, that's if this is a flat bottom, that's the reason for the Micron short. Then the 98 in here when it shows a bounce, and the fact that NVIDIA is bouncing too. Well, possibly bouncing. We shouldn't count our chickens before they hatch. But there's your bounce off 98. So I'm out of Micron. NVIDIA, pretty solid. I did do that thing where I put my stop at the wrong price. It immediately punched me out. I just jumped right back into the trade. But VWAP is a long ways away on NVIDIA. I'm back on the bid to try and get something underneath 127, ideally. I'd like to get longs under 127 and play back into the halves, then the 128s. Meta's doing just fine, but Peloton, when I say but, now so it bounces off of VWAP. I didn't get the best price. Could have got a couple of cents better. But you might be putting in a head and shoulders. If this cannot break 520, you've got 520 resistance, one break into the quarters, and then 520 resistance again. If it's continuing this head and shoulders pattern, no more reloads off of VWAP for Piton. The market is still looking rather heavy. And speaking of things that are heavy, we have not even mentioned Apple today, but Apple just lost. Oh, and it came back. 225 was broken on Apple. It just came back into the upside. I actually like that. If that's catching a bid, I like this for NVIDIA to be able to try to catch one as well. So it's bouncing off the level that we wanted. Hopefully we can get into VWAP. That would be fantastic. Still looking for something that's relatively strong, that is not a squeeze name, like something in tech that looks relatively strong. Haven't been able to find it just yet, but we're still searching. I always want to find relative strength and weakness at this time of the day.
I mean, let's just keep going, man. I mean, props it up to anybody that's following along. I mean, this trade is huge on NVIDIA. Honestly, like it felt, again, this is another level that's posted right here on the sticky note of 127. I can't, it sounds ridiculous to keep on doing this, but this is why I'm putting this out so everybody can join the party. There's 127 NVIDIA, so that's 70 cents. Meta right now, 523 short, right? So that's $5 in the money. And then we added onto this at whatever time it was, 9 o'clock, we added this Micron break, which is absolutely monstrous. Tesla's been huge. There's only been 4 names right now, and it's only 10:20. There's a lot of party still to go. And then look at that. There comes a dip down in, I mean, we're still short on Micron, so this is all good, although we don't want NVIDIA to go down. But look at all these outs, long, 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 out, 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 out. So we have half still of NVIDIA looking to see what it does near the bottom of the day. All right, it's time for Adara, and let's go with small cap recap over at the screen.
We have the IWM running into quite a bit of resistance here around that 222.50 area with lower highs. Then we recovered from the bottom wick into that level before selling back off. So the Russell 2000 definitely struggling with making these new highs here as we continue to kind of drift to the downside. We have Mullen here, MULN, this one near high of days here, up 60%. Mentioned this one before, but entering into a $210 million contract with Volt Mobility of the UAE. Mullen also does have a short float of about 28.3%. Next up here, we have Metarom here. That is going to be MRM as the ticker, up more than 100%. Their subsidiary, Metarom Mother Labs, entering into this partnership with NFES Technologies for a capital and business alliance. So MRM, strongly to the upside. Also would watch here and trying to make higher lows with a flat top is Asset Entities, ASST. No news on this one, but they do have here about a short float of about 3.8%, total float of just over 1 million shares, and a market cap of $3.48 million. Lots of names to be aware of, guys.
Yeah, that Mullen didn't get to VWAP after all, so it was right that the 50 break was a failed break, but Mullen's still trending higher and higher. Look to join if we can find an opportunity to do so. So NVIDIA just bounced again off 126. The bottom's about 70 cents, but if you're wondering like where, line in the charts down here, 126.5. That was like a triple bottom of sorts on Friday, once, twice, thrice. If it loses this, forget about it, but you're still getting them decent bounces off of that level for now. So holding on to the trend to the downside, but bouncing off 126.5. There is some subtle strength happening in a few names. When I say subtle, it was mentioned in the chat, it was like, oh, what's relatively strong out of the chip names, out of big cap tech, and it was mentioned Amazon's not exactly dying. It's not through Friday's low, but it just broke its low of the day. Maybe a 175 is available for Amazon. Worth keeping an eye on. It would have a decent chance to go green before some of the others, but everything's still looking relatively weak. It's NVIDIA that's at the support level. Going to get right back on the bid here underneath 127. And as long as it holds this level, we'll keep going for the longs on NVDA. Still have the trail on Meta. That's cruising. Just tested the low again and still bouncing off the 518 level. No big tested VWAP. At some point, this might just be a trail out here at 519.75 or so. Still want to give it a chance to flush a little bit more. So far, so good. Don't want to only sit on the hands here with what we have. It was really Mullen, the party that I would like to join. And that is a steep upward trend. Good for you, Mullen. Probably a good trade. I don't know about hanging on to this very long. They tend to dilute anytime this happens. So just be careful with this, but a good look for Mullins so far.
We're at our highest. Getting myself good. Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to get up. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day. And I mean, there it is right there. NVIDIA reloaded again at 127. It's just, let's just keep this as simple as possible. I just asked my wife, why did you send me this? They're at the X right now, so I don't know if she's trying to get some choco berry stuff going on here. Oh, it's because we saw this in London, that's why. Berries with cream and chocolate, so I don't know if she's going to be grabbing that. Looks like it's closed right now, but the family is down there at the CNE today, and that's like an annual tradition.
Fair.
So it is really good.
Good.
Oh, yeah, there they go. Okay.
What's the special food this year?
Yeah.
Every year,
it's so funny that you ask that. Normally, it's like, mustard ice cream or.
It's always something really ridiculous.
I don't know what it is.
It's if you're from here, you know. Like when he said mustard ice cream, when Sean said mustard ice cream, it's usually something along those lines. You'd think it's just disgusting, but it becomes a big deal, and everyone always has to try it when you go to the CNE. Hopefully,
I don't know what it is. I'm going to try to.
Yeah, we'll have to Google it because it's always worth trying. But usually, when you hear that thing, you're like, "There's no chance you're gonna get me to eat that crap." But certainly, CNE, it's good family fun.
Like deep fried butter's been there forever.
Oh yeah, deep fried, but that's the deep fried stuff is normal,
right? Like Oreos or whatever.
There's something else I was gonna get to.
Stuff.
No, it wasn't Rivian, wasn't Tesla, it wasn't Apple. Oh, Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft. Okay.
I knew there was something else here. Softy broke $415. Just want to make sure that we're at least covering, while we're holding on to these things, at least covering some of the important names. Microsoft has some room. This was the big dump on Friday. Well, one of the big dumps on Friday. It still has room to the low of 412, and it's trying to hold a higher low. The $414 was the afternoon level. Microsoft loses that. Yuck. If it hangs on to it on any bounce here in the market, this one, it's only down 0.5%, and the NASDAQ's just a little bit more than that. So I hate to call it relatively strong because that's a ridiculous thing to say when it's down, but it's at least looking halfway decent, kind of like Amazon is. Like, I like NVIDIA because it's at a support level, not because it's relatively strong compared to the market. It's not. But at least Amazon and Microsoft are showing some signs. If there is a relief rally here, I do kind of like those couple of names. Just here's another retest on Peloton of these highs. At some point, it needs to break out this top and really start going. Going to put an offer now in front of the quarters. It's been steady Eddie on this 5 break, but all it's done is go from 5 to 525. Need this one to go that next step and get to that 550. If NVIDIA holds this breakout, previous close 129.37, I'm out in front of VWAP on NVIDIA. If it's trend down, I'm just going to throw the order out in front of VWAP and see if we can't grab that one to the upside. So far, so good. Market trying to catch a bit of a bid here. I don't know if I like Amazon or Meta or Microsoft more in terms of trying to find a dip buy. Maybe neither, to be honest with you.
Guys, we are really just cruising today, and you know what? It's all sticky note. There's nothing else. We have Micron. We have this. Well, Tesla was there too. But this NVIDIA off 127, I mean, that's thrice. I mean, more than that. We have 4 fills, but basically 2 reloads down there. And then that last out right there at 72s or whatever that was as we climb up. I would love to get that. I mean, I'm at again, you know, everyone's going to trade their book. I'm going to be at 128.25 right here at the 50 period. If we can get above 128, let's just see that little jump off spot there was like 128.15s. So we'll see if we can grab that. I don't know if that's going to be in play or not. Micron is, well, P&L number 1 today. It'll be between Meta and Micron. I mean, I feel like they're going to be dollars once we get out. But I don't know where we're going to get out of them all. But I have less than 10% left of Micron. And it was really, so first of all, this was the big trade. But this was great. This break of 100 gave us a buck. I mean, it gave us a $1.50. That's our lowest fill. So that was already a short at the 200. Short at the 100, and then just bleed basically all the way back in. So that was a really good trade there. And then obviously this Meta trade, as we keep on talking about the same stuff. All right, so this could even break again. And when it does, ooh-wee, I'm at 521. There's the professor. Professor, $5 on Meta. Yeah, and $4 on Micron. And right now, 80 cents on NVIDIA, but we'll see if that gets better. All right, Meta right now trying to break lower. It's funny because Sharif always asks me, what are we looking at today? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing today. And then let's let the market tell us. And now you're down almost 1% on the NASDAQ. So that is not good for the portfolio, but very, very good for what we're doing right here, right now. We're going to be at the highest spot all day today, just doing this. Quickly Shopify. And again, this is a completely different style. Like for me anyways, we'll trade 4 names and they're all where they need to be. Shopify does not hold though. So with this market making down moves here of 1+%, or possibly 1+% in a minute, we never got into Shopify. So we just started hitting these shorts early, short Meta, short Micron, and we definitely got influenced by that, right? So we didn't really take this long on Shopify. That's 76.50. Easy to get out of, man. I mean, I hope this is a 10-cent hit if you're still in this as it continues to go lower. So that is Shopify. Some names don't work out. I don't know if you got out or not, but our NVIDIA, man, we took a lot out up here. We talked about how much we have left. So now let's wait to see. Okay, here comes right back in again. It's NVIDIA making lows. One more, well, not making lows, but heading back into that low. I'm going to take some more shares now. Our out will be a break of the low, 126.70 or so. More shares.
Yeah, the low, just when we get it almost exactly, it's like, it actually is, I have 70 even as the low. So if it breaks that, we're out of it. I've been putting bids just underneath the 127, so we'll see what happens if we get another one. But like the market is bleeding, and that's why I was like a second ago. Do I even want to take something just because it's relatively strong? Like, is that even good enough? Like I was like, oh, Microsoft's kind of relatively strong. Like, who cares? The market's going to the downside. Yeah, that reload might not have even been a good one here on NVIDIA. You did just break low of the day on Meta, so it's at that next level. At this point, there's like 5:15 left, and that's it. So I want to leave it on here as you just broke the low on NVIDIA. There's always a chance it can hold on to Friday's lows and then get some kind of a bounce. But I don't want to be fighting it at this point. It's got to show it to me, and then we'll try to jump back into it. We'll see what happens there. And I did want to short AMD, but you can pretty much forget about the levels that I would have liked. AMD, like I'm going to slap a fail on myself.
Oh, NVIDIA's going.
Wrong one. I'm slapping a fail on myself for not getting AMD. There's patience, and then there's patience. Yeah, I was patient with AMD. A little too patient. Let's go to the desk. We've got, oh yeah, crypto. I completely forgot about crypto.
One of the bigger stories over the last week and the weekend in the crypto space has to be related to these inflows we had here. Sharif did mention this during the rundown. We do have Bitcoin actually getting Bitcoin products are getting $543 or $543 million worth of inflows. So we're total crypto inflows here, getting $533 million in the last week. This is actually the largest inflows we've had in 5 weeks for crypto. Though it is worth noting, Ethereum still having outflows of around $36 million. So lots of inflows for BTC, but Ethereum is still lagging a little bit here. In terms of Bitcoin on the daily chart, after wicking into the $65,000 level both on Saturday and earlier this morning, still unable to steadily stay above that level, currently holding on to 63.5 for BTC, but above that key $62,000 level, we had quite a few crypto analysts talking about that you can see coming into some support and resistance in the past on the daily chart here. Bitcoin slightly down on the day here, down almost 1%, but again, still holding on to the 63.5. Ethereum holding on to 2,700 right now, but also down on the day about 1.5%. The rest of these names a little bit more mixed. Slight positivity here for USDT, USDC, and Tron, but some weakness in BNB, Solana, Ripple, Dogecoin. Bit of a mixed but generally negative picture for crypto stocks, guys.
So I completely forgot about Mara because it was like the breakout would have had to have been 19, and it's at 18 pretty much now. So the market's melting at this point. Well, not melting. The market's strong to the downside at this point. So standing on the bid at 18, you can like a level for a dip buy at the open. I don't think you have to sit there on the bid as the market's flushing, but this is where I was looking for a bounce on Mara. We're not through 63 and we're not holding 63 and a half the way I would like. We're up and down underneath that price. So I'd like to see us above that 63 and a half if we could be ultimately on Bitcoin before I got into Mara. Meta, as I said, broke the low to the downside here. So it's pretty much at my target. So my trail is going to be in right here. This is the target we had just underneath the 516 level. So if it does a wick bottom at this price, I'm jumping out of Meta. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to adjust my order as we speak. Big time flush. Love the flat bottom break, but this is the target we had, and it just wicked the 516.
Yeah, big trade alert. Obviously, $7 in the money on Meta as posted in Micron right now. We would be short 102, but we've added to it. So right now, this is $4 from the top, $2 from our current position. It's Adara.
Worth noting as well here at 10:30, we did get the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index for August. This one coming in here at negative 9.7, so a bit above the prior number here of negative 17.5 and above the forecast of negative 16. So higher than expected Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index for August, guys.
This is, Sharif just like, what is this, Katina, man? And I'm like...
Real trading. Speaking...
Exactly, we just talked about this is real trading. This is putting on positions and holding and making that money. You know, this is exactly that, Neil, and I like where you're going with it, so drop that promo.
Yes, sir. What it is right now, it's real trading. And if you're interested, the campus program is back, everybody. So if you're located in Canada and you want to trade and you want to learn to trade and you want to learn to execute on a professional platform, then check out Real Trading /campus. Scan the QR code below. It's a free program. One of the reasons why we love it so much is it's real. You don't put anything down, but you get a chance to gain real experience and trade real money. So the program is an intensive one, but all that it matters is that you have a passion for trading in my book and the time and effort to be able to put into these markets. Start with a market introduction to phase 1. Then you learn P Pro 8, this platform that we use, myself, Sean, Sharif, Adara, Brendan, Big Patty Ice back there, Obi, everybody out here on P Pro 8, built for traders by traders. And you go into the simulator for phase 3. You're going to get live one-on-one sessions. You're going to have Brankles and Wayne over there able to help you out in your journey. You're going to have ongoing sessions where you meet trading objectives for about 4 weeks. Then you can go live, phase 4. Go live trading real money, able to earn real money. You still get your one-on-one coaching. This is about a month and a half, 6 weeks total. This requires of you 8 hours of trading a week, minimum 8 hours trading a week, 16 total. So this is the kind of thing where you can have your side gig or whatever it is, put that time and effort in. It is absolutely free. Become a potential funded trader at the end of it. All you got to do is hit that apply if you're in Canada, and best of luck to you. So that's realtrading.com campus/campus, or scan that QR code that you find in front of you on the screen. It's also in the link in the description of our stream. So good luck, everybody, in that campus program. Mr. Longshorts is with Real Trading as well. So he's interested. And speaking of, here's the question. What's the question? I'm with Real Trading. Is it possible to get access to that coaching part? If you're with Real Trading, here's the thing. You can, like, every single day, we're giving you our ideas and our coaching live. If you already are a Real Trading trader, they do have a program where, I don't know if you're still with it, where they have I have no idea who's doing the coaching right now, but they do have support for all the offices. If you're with an office, then your office manager and risk manager would be your support. But if you own an office, there is still that support. So I don't know if you own an office, or you just a trader at an office. It's not my place to say if you're a trader at an office. Your office manager should be the one that's giving you the coaching. You can always check us out. I'm now out of Meta because this was the level that we targeted in here. Again, reason to get in, reason to get out. When we set this one out, flat bottom break is one of the first things that we noticed for a flat bottom break opportunity. And here is your key close price, 515 change, let's call it. It's about like 70 or so. I didn't check it exactly. But if you do any kind of a wick bottom off that level, it bounced 16 and came back in. That's the trade for me. So I'm in, I'm out. Still in Peloton, which magically hasn't broken VWAP, but at some point this sucker's breaking VWAP as far as I'm concerned. It's holding on to the top of the channel. We had a 5 break that's just holding on to VWAP. 15 minutes not going to have it. So there you go. Bouncing off VWAP multiple times. Cannot break the high. So as long as the trend holds, we're going to look for re-entries after it bounces and try to hold this for a top break. One of the few things that's actually going to the upside, and it's a squeeze name. When the market is down, a lot of times it's short float runners, squeeze names, or things that have their own news, like this ASST. So big assist to Adara for the small cap recap, as this one is about to take out some highs as well. Hope I didn't jinx it.
Wow, here we go. All right, guys, back over to trading quickly here. Just for me, for TQQs. This is another level here that we wrote down, 68 break on the TQQ. So we're short right now at 68, and it's coming back in right now. This is the futures we're talking about. There's the break. This is why we liked it. Right here, 68. Breaking lower on the futures. We had wrote this down. Now let's see where we go on this one. Come on, TQQs. This is a big one right now. We're just $7 in the money right now on Meta. And as Neil mentioned, man, this is what it's all about. You know, we write it down on the sticky note. Check it out. Neil's got it. We've got it. It is Meta. It is, well, did have it. It's Meta, monster, $8 winner now. Micron, huge win. And then this is the one that I'm also proud of. We talked about this, trading the futures. We wrote down here, future TQQ break. And I'm going to get excited because honestly, what's happening right here today has been, for me, I mean, obviously I'm going to get excited about it. And it's more about this. Look at this. Be patient. 71 break long. 68 support, right? Short sell on that break. So there it is right there for the NASDAQ, and we shorted it. So we short that NASDAQ TQQ break, and now it's just printing. This is a huge trade, guys, honestly. Huge trade down to the downside right now. We're now 30 cents in the money on this move in. The TQQs, the market hasn't even started going down yet. You know, this is the thing. You haven't even really seen, like, a lot of us haven't traded through 08. Thankfully, I'm so super old that I have. What's going to happen if this market gives this up? And I already said this last week on NVIDIA Day on Wednesday. This is there's not even headlines today, you know, and the market's down 1.4 and there's no bids on a lot of these names. I mean, we supported NVIDIA right there. See ya. You know, we supported Tesla right See ya down there into 212. You know, we have this break for you. See ya on Meta. Meta now $8 in the money. So, I mean, it's starting to go to the downside now, and it's not necessarily stopping. I'm going to put another bid at 56 right now, take that fill on the TQQs, and put another 50 cents in our pocket right now. So, I mean, what a day this has been here today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5, and big stock. So we're happy and we're short. And yeah, I'm surprised this TQQ trade is doing this. Like when we wrote down 68, man, that was it. Okay, I don't know. People are saying that, yeah, Middle East stuff. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen anything. We have Adair sitting over there. If anything does pop through, that is great. But again, guys, we already talked about this. When the market was hovering, we said we'd have to be patient for breaks. Breaks happened, money was made, and is it time to throw to Adair? Did I hear that? And without any further ado, it's Adair with Sector Watch.
NASDAQ sharply underperforming the S&P 500 as of right now, and you can definitely see that reflected in this sector board. Lots of weakness in this electronic technology sector, specifically NVIDIA, Broadcom, AMD, a lot of these other chips sharply to the downside. Apple red as well, though some of these other names are slightly positive. Similar sentiment here that we're seeing in technology services. Meta, Microsoft, Google, all red, though it's a little bit more mixed for the rest of the sector. Also worth noting here, some weakness in some of these semiconductor plays within producer manufacturing, as well as Tesla here in consumer durables to the downside. Transportation generally strong, but keep an eye on Uber getting fined here $324 million from the Dutch antitrust regulators. So keep an eye on UBER in the transportation space. In terms of positivity, we have quite a lot of it. Energy, minerals, notably green here. This is where I've seen some headlines with regards to tensions in the Middle East, specifically Libya, though I haven't seen those headlines with regards to everything else. I'll take a look at that for you guys. But Middle East tensions bringing oil to the upside. Some strength here in health services, commercial services, consumer services, process industries, utilities, consumer non-durables, and with the exception of Amazon, retail trade pretty strong here as well. Also worth keeping an eye here on finance. BRK, be up more than 1%. A lot of these other names following suit, guys.
All right. Closed Micron. So just for you guys looking at this one, we do have a closing trade there on Micron. The short is 102. That last out is 98.20. So good trade there added into the short there on Micron. So we'll talk all about that in a minute. Also, just an update here. I'm going to go 519 as an out for Meta. Like I said, if we're wrong and this name goes all the way back up, we will. unfortunately have to eat this 250, trying to hold. Well, we won't have. I mean, it's already a winner, but we'll have to wait to see if that gets down, as Sharif says beside me. 125 could have been that level for NVIDIA. I feel like it's very dangerous trying to call something before earnings. But I would think that this could be the long if the market ever bounces back up. I mean, down 3%. We know the Emperor does have clothing, but you're going to see exactly if that's the case come Wednesday evening when we have NVIDIA earnings on board. So there it goes, man. We're out of exactly half of the TQQs down there. We had a nice little flush in. I'm going to use 68.20 right here, sort of where this jump got started. If we get clocked out in and around 68.20, we are out. We will go for a reload at that price, though, and then get out a little bit higher. So 68.20, out at 68.30 here. I'll just put the stop order in now. As Neil has mentioned, that's a strategy that we do like to use. So now, if it does rip up against me, I'll be bang, bang, instantly punched out. And, you know, you can't trade if you don't manage risk. We say this all the time. Brian Shannon, one of my favorite guests on the show, talks about being a risk manager ahead of a trader. And this is exactly why. Look at this out on Tesla. We get out there on Tesla. We're not even looking at the stock. We're hitting $7, $8 winners on Meta. We're hitting $3, $4 on Micron. We're hitting these futures. We're doing it all. We can't look at everything. So you got to have stop orders in. And that's exactly what we had right there. That's how you preserve your capital. And that's how you put up these huge numbers without huge upside risk, downside risk, sorry, because you've capitalized on taking out profit and then making sure that you have an out for that down or upside. So just watch out there for that move. TQQs could be finding a base as well. So we'll see if that one wants to go a little bit lower.
It seems like there was a bit of a, I don't want to call it a capitulatory bottom, but it maybe too early to say that. 19.5 on the NASDAQ just held. It did break out break down under 13's lows and Thursday's lows and continuing to try to bounce here. It's NVIDIA that's making me think that we missed. Look, the only chance I think on this bounce was to try and get a break back through 125. I didn't find it fast enough, so I'm not chasing a move here. But NVIDIA is starting to look a little bit strong, relatively speaking, to some of these others. Like I looked over at Apple. Apple's still chilling out at the low of the day. In terms of other chip names, AMD's like barely getting off the schneid here, and it's only at $150. I feel like I still want to short pops in AMD. Believe it or not, there just hasn't been one. It's been all red candles, and the only consecutive on the 3-minute here is right now. It's the first time there's back-to-back candles on green, and it's trying to go through 150. 152 looms. VWAP is going to loom as well for that name. Yeah, it's still relatively weak in most of these chip names. I'm not calling any kind of bottoms here, but if we bounce off 190 or 19.5 again, this could be a place to start looking for some things. JJJ, Tesla was another one that I was looking at, although I feel like sticking with NVIDIA and AMD, which were part of the original plan, might be a good one. Good consolidated bottom there on Tesla at about 212. Again, if we retest those lows and bounce, that could be a good spot for it. My eyes are going to be on NVIDIA and AMD in these final 15 minutes. Possibly a little bit of that Mullen for the VWAP trade. I mean, it's basing off of VWAP. It is Mullen. Mullen it can hold VWAP and go to the highs again, but if it loses VWAP, it can easily be, from 47 to 35.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like Sean said with stop orders, it's holding VWAP for now, but if you don't think my stop wouldn't be underneath that 45 to limit loss, then you don't know Mullen very well. So it's up 40% because they haven't done an offering yet or anything like that. It did break the trend, so when it broke this trend up, wait for VWAP. Right now it's trying to hold it. I need to see it bounce off VWAP. See how it just smashed 47, it's going to retest this 45 bid. If it bounces a second time, gets above VWAP, then I don't mind the long on MULN here. But looking weak again, that could easily fill that gap, believe me.
Yeah, they got that new $200 million contract or something like that for Mullen earlier. And we actually brought that to you on the show. So I hope some of you are able to take advantage of some of that volatility and some of that volume there on Mullen. All right, so I've sort of adjusted my stop here. I mean, like I said, you got to be looking at these things. So this has come way back in. I'm actually going to change it now to 518. I put it to 518.50, but as this, remember I was at 519 initially, get out of 100% of this if it breaks. I'm just trying to watch the 50-period moving average. That's now at 518.11s. I mean, by the time it gets there, it'll be down to 518. So I'm not super worried about it right now, but that's going to be a level. And as Neil mentioned, sometimes stocks go back up. And that seems to be what's happening right now. So that's all good. That's why you got to manage those expectations and manage these positions. All right, here comes the TQQs. I mean, this one could be, actually, it will not be a loser, I don't think, no matter what happens here, because even if we get out at 30s, we're still okay. We are going to try to reload this a little bit. I'm just right here at that high, just breaking through 15s. There's a wick there to 20s, so I'm going to sit at 17s, just ahead of it. To get some more short, and then we're going to watch out for that break right there on the TQQ right here. That's 27, so 30 break higher. We'll get out of the triple Qs, and again, this is the NASDAQ 100, so you could see a nice little bottom out there. I don't know if this was coincidental or not, so let's just have a quick look here. Wick down into, that's 19.5. We've been down to 19.5 before. The lowest we got was 19.450. I saw Dan Emmons and some of the other traders there in the chat talking about 19.1 maybe coming into play. I could see that. I mean, I would say 19.2 more than 19.1, but I mean, either way, if you're short, you take either one of those, I think. Right. So that's a nice move right there for the futures to potentially come in for a level. So if there was some sort of chatter about a a spot where we could bounce, I did hear in the chat 19.1, or read in the chat 19.1. So that could be something there. But other than that, man, yeah, we're out of everything. NVIDIA, Micron, we got out at 48.20 or 98.20, 48.20. Maybe hopefully that doesn't happen.
48.20.
Yeah, there's the out. So we're happy with where we got out. Obviously, I'd rather be sitting in it now because it doesn't look like it wants to go too much. Right there, hearing in my ear, it is a Dominic special. It is GDC. He messaged us this last week and super chatted it. So because of that, Dominic, here it is again, up 5.5. GDC starting to put some burners on right now. The TQs, whoopsies, the TQs goes right back into the money now. We did not get that short at 17s. Why? Because it goes to 15s. Let's see if there's a downside push right now. And in most of our favorite segments, it's Money Talks with Adara.
DXY had a very interesting level here, slightly positive on the day after that big move downward on Friday with regards to the S&P, with the Jackson Hole speak, and higher than expected July home sales. But right now we actually wicked into the lowest level we've been at since the last week of December 2023. So multi-month lows here for the DXY, though again, slightly positive on the day here, trying to climb back up. We got durable good orders month over month here for July, higher than expected, 9.9% versus estimates here of 4%, and the prior number here of negative 6.9%. So much higher than the expected in previous numbers. Dallas Fed manufacturing here also coming in higher than expected for August, negative 9.7 versus negative 17.5 prior, and negative 16 expected here. So we also did have as well core durable goods for July, slightly lower than expected, negative 0.2 versus estimates of flat on the month over month basis. We also did have some comments from Fed's Barkin coming in on this Bloomberg podcast saying that there should be a test and learn approach to rate cuts, saying there could be some potential layoffs if the economy weakens, but that the spreading of disinflation is worth noting here across the economy as opposed to just for goods. We also have Fed's Daily set to speak at 2 p.m. So some more Fed speak on watch here throughout the day, guys.
Fed speak, Fed speak, Fed speak. Look, it's the first time today VWAP is lost on Peloton for the first time. It's held it the entire way up. We had one last reload on it, and then it lost VWAP. So the breakout, and then the hold of VWAP, and now it's back underneath. I'm not fighting this sucker. It looks like it wants to head back in. Maybe you can get down in, here, let's zoom it out for a little bit. Maybe you can get back down into like the close prices, 480, or a bounce off the 5 even or 495 zone where this whole party started. But at some point, figured this was going to drag down. We like the trend until the end when it bends. As a good, Obi says it. I mean, it's Obi's line. Just keep it real. It's not my line. That's Obi's line. NVIDIA is still holding on to 126 as I look up. That's doing a nice little bounce play. I did still want to look for an opportunity to fade into AMD. Friday's lows, 152. Consolidation here was essentially under 152. So if we're making a bounce, that's where I would wait for to the upside on AMD. Oh, I forgot all about Intel.
How dare you?
Well, not how dare me. How dare everybody? No, just kidding. There were better. There was lots of opportunities on the short side. Like you can just pull up a chart, and if you weren't shorted, you're going to say, "Oh no, I missed out on the short on stock X, stock Y." So Intel did break down.
There goes a few.
Big hold of the 20 level here. VWAP sits at 2025. Every day that Intel's trended down, I've essentially said, if you get an opportunity, take a shot short at VWAP. So this is going to get to VWAP a heck of a lot faster than something like AMD will because it's only 10 cents away. So this is going to come first. So 230-ish or 2030-ish on Intel. Maybe a Freudian slip there for INTC.
Yeah, Dan Emmons there clarifying he is now looking long, in the futures. So
Dan going long.
For that one. You were right. I mean, you were talking about that down here when I was talking about it. We are into the short one more time here. So let's remember that and figure it out. So we're in the short now of the TQ. Sorry, there it is right there. We're short at 11s. We're getting out if it breaks through 30. We've talked about that shelf there. So if that does come in, Daniel and everybody else that's out there, I don't know if you're actually, I don't know why I just said Daniel there.
It might be Daniel.
Dan Emmons, and we might be breaking a little bit higher right now. Remember, we do have, okay, this is starting to adjust right now. I'm still just going to give it to 518. We've sort of let some of these things breathe a little bit to the downside. So we'll just give it still to that 518, which is right there, and the 50 period. But if you are trading the 50 period on Meta, it's really 517. It's like right here, right now. It's like 517.50. So if you want to save yourselves 50 cents, I mean, I'm debating doing that possibly, to be honest with you. We do have a good opportunity here to try to catch some of these trades. And I think that might be something to do right now with Meta. So we'll hold on. If it takes 518, and what I mean by that is like it could just be here dancing around and doesn't want to take that and move higher. So this is also like a reload spot for a short. So I don't necessarily want to just be tapping out right away on this trade, but it is something for sure. And then we are tapping out on the futures. If this continues to go higher, then we gone. There are a lot of names that are at the 50 period moving average, including the futures, and that is a spot to be looked out for. So congratulations on anybody that was able to reverse that into the long. We averaged into the short, and we'll still be fine on this trade. As we said, we sort of banked it to be that way, but the short will lose, breaking through 68. We are short at 68.12 though. So a little bit of a push down might be good right now with only 5 minutes left. We're just in this short and Meta short. It's a good thing we cleared out. Well, not really a good thing, but we did clear out of Micron right there for a nice winner. And then there goes TQs. So there it goes, breaking higher. So yeah, man, we'll celebrate the wins and we'll talk about our losses. So there goes the TQQ. So just for example, I'm now down 10%, less than 10% of what I made on Meta. On the TQQs. So, so far so good with risk management.
That's what it's all about. I mean, risk management is the name of the game. Well, I mean, at least it is if you want to be a trader. So like I'm looking at PDD. It never actually held $100. The only level at the open for that opening rush that tried to hold was actually that 102 where we had it. So I took 2 swipes at it and lost. I actually thought PDD was going to be adjacent to Meta in terms of opportunity, and it turns out like Meta was better good than PDD was bad. But sometimes it goes to a level on an SSR bounce that just I'm not looking for. It got to $96, and this is essentially the move that you want, where it catches a bottom and then just sort of trends up. Whether it gets to VWAP, I think is insignificant. It happened to try to bounce off 100. Look how shallow that move was. So Pinduoduo 29% down after this bounce that you're seeing, 96 to 100. So I guess it was 30% plus. Nasty, nasty day for them. I'm in Intel because you said we short this curl. 2025 is the local bottom that broke, $20.25, and that's also Friday's low. So VWAP's a line on a chart. Support was $20.25. So I'm thinking resistance is $20.25. I'm short at 20s. I'm going to bid 15s, 10s, 5s, and evens on INTC. Starting to think about how far this move can get back into the upside, as AMD just got to 151. So it's on the way to this 152 level. I keep saying I should wait. If the market's bouncing, let it get to your price, but it's already starting to curl here at 151. Patience is a virtue. Now, I'm going to hang off. I did grab Intel here, so I'm going to wait for AMD to settle down and maybe give me that 152. Don't want to start the short $1 early and then get myself into some trouble. Only a couple of minutes left, everybody. Then we're going to throw you guys over to the midday. You got Sharif, you got Adara, you got Learn to Trade. It's a wild start to the week. Remember, NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. We're just getting started with this volatility, everybody. And I feel like at least I know I've been ignoring the move in crypto. We failed that 63.5. And for me, as long as that was not on the bid, 63.5, I didn't want the longs in Mara. So if you're wondering why no trades in Mara, well, I wanted Mara longs if it was holding on to that bid. Bitcoin just broke it down and has been trying to recover. If it gets back above 63.5, I can start looking for some Mara longs at that point, which incidentally did bounce off 18 after all. So there's your bounce off 18. All it had to do was break 18 down to 1782, which is a full % down, and now go green. If we get above 18.5, I'll look for a little bit of a retracement play on Mara. Nice nice volume bottom on Mara, but I want to see Bitcoin hold 63.5 before we get into anything on Mara to the long side. So Intel already starting to move to the downside. I got 15s. I'm actually at 11s, and then we're going to put one at 6.
The market seems to be very, very resilient, needless to say, as it just keeps on climbing back. Remember, we talked about Meta and being a little bit worried about that trade. Well, now it's at 520, so there's our out at 518. So we're really happy with that one and wondering if anybody got out at that 517.50 area. That was sort of screaming to us as being a potential issue there for Meta. But there it goes right back up to 520. It's back into VWAP. The market right now needs to get to VWAP in order to short it. The 50 period doesn't seem to be meaning anything right now. So let's just hold out here for a little bit and see what happens. But right now it's Meta upside. We'll see. We'll figure out if there's anything else going on right now. What is wrong with the dashboard? Oh, well, it's already switched. That's fine. In just 30 seconds, it'll switch over. So that's what's wrong with it. We're out of Meta, so that's basically the only thing right now. After that, we could check out. I know there's, a lot of talk about NVIDIA. Again, 525. Thinking about Meta, 125 seems to be that bottom right up to the 50 period again. So just look out for maybe a little bit of a slowdown right now in the market because this was such a good move back up. But until then, man, what are you guys doing? The dashboard is fixed apparently. So there you go. I guess it's not this one, maybe our actual dashboard on the other side. What are you guys doing today?
We're doing rate of change.
All right, rate of change and rate of change and rate on time because right now, well, that would be rate and right, so I know it's different. But here we go over to these guys. It's Adara, it's Sharif, it's the Midday Madness. Thanks, everybody. That was a fun day. We're back at 2 p.m. Until then, go get them, Adara and Sharif.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is